Good evening and welcome to the Oregon City Commission regular meeting. Today is Wednesday, November 5th, 2025, and I'm pleased to convene the meeting and ask for the roll call, please.
Commissioner Scott Wilson. Here. Commissioner Mike Mitchell. Here. Commissioner Rocky Smith. Here. Commissioner Adam Marl. Here. And Mayor Denise McGriff.
Present. If you are able, would you please rise and stand for the flag salute?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, and liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much, everyone. Tonight on our agenda, we have 4 ceremonies, 1 ceremony and 3 proclamations and 1 recognition. And it's our pleasure to announce that we're going to have an oath of office for our new Oregon City Police Sergeant. And I will have to say, I thought you already were a sergeant, but that's okay. I'd like to turn this over to the chief briefly.
Thanks, Mayor, Commission. It's an honor for me to be here tonight to swear in Alan Farmer as our newest sergeant. So if he can come forward, I'll talk about him real quickly. Sergeants are one of the most integral positions in a police department. They're the supervisors who lead the shift, manage critical incidents, and maintain the standards of our department. As you can see, Alan is well respected and he has a lot of family and friends here. Alan started with us on February 1st, 2016, after being a reserve at Clackamas Police Department for about a year. He also grew up here in Oregon City and graduated from Oregon City High School. Alan he's been a patrol officer, an officer in charge, a field training officer, and is a canine handler. Sergeant Farmer is also an instructor in various disciplines. Alan was promoted to sergeant on October 19th. He has already completed his sergeant orientation and is currently assigned to swing shift patrol. Here tonight with Alan is his wife Miranda, his daughters Videla, Violet, and Valley, and his mother-in-law, and all the members of Oregon City Police Department and a lot of his friends and family that are gathered back there. So I'll turn it over to you.
Let's do it. So you've seen this before, so you just raise your right hand and you will be solemnly swearing. So just I with your first name. Last name.
Ready to go?
Ready to go.
All right. I, Alan Farmer, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Oregon. I will abide by the Law Enforcement Code of Ethics and the Department's rules and regulations while faithfully performing my duties as a police sergeant for Oregon City, Oregon.
Congratulations. So we'll sign our lives away and then we'll take pictures. Your best penmanship, of course.
That's not great.
And I get to sign it. You're going to have this forever, so I don't want you to look back on it 20 years from now and go, oh, that was not good. It's not right over the top of that. see some former sergeants in the audience. All right. Next on our agenda, we have item B, which is law enforcement and service and sacrifice proclamation. I think I've got that right here. So this is a proclamation to recognize and honor the service and sacrifice of those law enforcement officers killed in the line of duty while protecting the Oregon City community. Whereas law enforcement is an honorable, hardworking profession that diligently seeks to make our community more livable and safe, and whereas there is no greater sacrifice an officer can make for their community than to give their life, and whereas the death of a police officer shocks the very soul of a community, our government, and the very freedoms the officers have sworn to protect. And whereas the impact of this tragedy upon the officer's family, friends, department, and community is immeasurable, and whereas our hearts and thoughts go out to the many killed in action while serving to protect our community. Now, therefore, I, Denise C. McGriff, Mayor of the City of Oregon City, along with the City Commission and the citizens of Oregon City, Oregon, extend our heartfelt condolences to the families of the following officers. Reserve Police Officer Robert Lipke, lost on November 4th, 2013. Police Officer George J. Hanlon, lost on April 24th, 1906. These officers have been lost but will never be forgotten. This community will forever be grateful. We ask for a moment of silence as we remember the Oregon City's valuable public servants and pray for healing and hope in the future. In witness thereof, I have set my hand on this 5th day of November, 2025. Let's all have a moment of silence, please. Thank you so much. The entire Oregon City family mourns their loss, but they will, as it's stated in the proclamation, remain forever in our hearts. Thank you so much, everyone. Just need to take a minute. It's harder every year to read that. Anyway, next on our agenda is a proclamation declaring Extra Mile Day. And I'd like to continue to credit my colleague and former City Commissioner and Mayor Rachel Lyle Smith for starting this. I have been honored to continue this with this proclamation. So whereas Oregon City, Oregon is a community which acknowledges that a special vibrancy exists within the entire community when its individual citizens collectively go the extra mile in personal effort, volunteerism, and service. And whereas Oregon City, Oregon is a community which encourages its citizens to maximize their personal contributions to the community by giving of themselves wholeheartedly and with total effort, commitment, and conviction to their individual ambitions, family, friends, and community. And whereas Oregon City, Oregon is a community which chooses to shine a light on and celebrate individuals and organizations within its community who go the extra mile in order to make a difference and lift up fellow members of their community. And whereas Oregon City, Oregon acknowledges the mission of the Extra Mile America to create 550 extra mile cities in America and is proud to support Extra Mile Day on November 1st, 2025. Now therefore, I, Denise C. McGriff, Mayor of the City of Oregon City, and the City Commission do hereby proclaim November 1st, actually it's just going to be the whole month, as Extra Mile Day, and encourage Oregon City citizens to take time on this day not only to go the extra mile in their own lives, but also to acknowledge those who are inspirational in their efforts and commitments to make their organizations, family, community, country, and world a better place. And I will sign this on the 5th day of November. So I want to acknowledge, even though it was in the Trail News, I want to acknowledge the people that did receive this, because I think they should be acknowledged again. Give me just a second. So First, I'd like to acknowledge Beverly Ellis. Any visitor to Oregon City would be hard-pressed to find a more welcoming individual than Beverly. Since coming out of retirement in 2023 to serve as the ambassador at the municipal elevator kiosk, Beverly has courteously greeted visitors, tourists, students, and daily commuters and curious explorers alike as they stroll the McLoughlin Promenade or ride the landmark elevator. Her warm presence and friendly smile have become a hallmark of the Oregon City experience. Beverly consistently receives high praise from those she encounters. With a genuine care for visitor well-being and a deep well of historical and practical knowledge, she serves the community in a way that beautifully reflects the spirit of Oregon City, both for those who call it home and those who are visiting with curiosity and reverence. Whether she offers directions, sharing a bit of local history, or simply listening to someone's story, Beverly treats every person like family. She brings compassion, attentiveness, and heart to everything she does, and truly there is no better person to welcome visitors and community members alike as they arrive in Oregon City. Beverly is not just an ambassador, she is a reflection of our best that the city has to offer. Beverly, would you like to come up? I'm coming down. I know there's others here that have little gifts for you and things that I'd like to give you these from us and your plaque. And gentlemen, would you come down so we can take a picture with Beverly? Anyway, I'm going to have everybody come down and take a picture with Beverly. You're welcome. It's our pleasure. Thank you so much, Beverly. On behalf of the commission, Mike, Adam, Mrs. Scott. Thank you. All right. Next, I'd like to recognize the members of the Oregon City Parks Foundation. They come from many different backgrounds and experiences, but they all share the same passion for our parks as Lila and Keith Kelly did. The Parks Foundation honors Keith and Lila by holding those long-term park volunteers as our standard bearers. The members of the Oregon City Parks Foundation include Stephanie Fan, Carla Laws, Damon Mabey, Patty Webb, Dee Dee Dahlstrid, and Roger Fowler-Theus. They believe that a vibrant, diverse, and well-maintained park system is a key component in the livability of Oregon City. Their projects include pollinator beds on the McLoughlin Promenade, ivy removal, summer camp funding, and at Atkinson Park, and the Buena Vista Clubhouse restoration, to name a few. Their tireless efforts make Oregon City a great place to live, play, and work in. I'd like to have the City Commission join me in thanking these wonderful volunteers on behalf of the city by going the extra mile. So would the Parks Foundation members who are here tonight come up, please? Here, Damon, would you accept these on behalf of the commission, the Parks Foundation, and if we have, if I missed anybody, we'll get more certificates, so have you stand in the middle. We missed Jordan, okay. Yep. Well, there's 7 in there, but I can't submit a list, okay. Are we even? I know, we have to do the picture organization here.
Right.
Great. Thank you, everybody. See you later. Bye. And last but not least, I'd like to recognize the Oregon City Greater Watershed Council. The Oregon City Watershed Council works with public partners and private landowners to conserve, enhance, and protect watersheds that surround us. Through this work, they develop and implement restoration plans, survey and assess stream health, and assist public and private landowners in enhancing riparian habitats. The Oregon City Greater Watershed Council's mission is to conserve, enhance, and protect the quality and ecological integrity of the watersheds by providing a cooperative forum to promote and facilitate integrated watershed management. Thank you to the board members, Celia, Marcia, Allison, Sarah, Danielle, Doug, and Governmental Representative Marcus Kubo and Jay Wilson. Would you come on up? Is Tom up here? Where's Tom?
I'm coming up and I want to introduce
All right, come on up here. You want to leave your coat somewhere because you're going to be in a photo op. After you accept this, I'm happy to have the board. If you want to have that move over, so you can get it.
so we can do the apex.
And I'm going to stand next to Tom, so you get to move over. Everybody turn sideways just a little bit, that way we get squish in. Yeah, no, that way.
Forget the limits of the
Camera, yeah.
All right, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3.
Thank you, everybody. I don't know what I did with the other, they're over here. All right, and this one is particularly exciting. They're all exciting, but this one's particularly exciting. So the City Commission would like to honor Taylor Miller, employee recognition, and there is a video as I understand it. All right, take it away. As unaccustomed as you are to public speaking, correct?
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. Before we run this fun video for you, just wanted to kind of introduce this award that Taylor received. So I'm Scott Archer, Parks and Recreation Director. This is Taylor Miller, our Events and Rental Coordinator. This is his supervisor, Cecily Rose, who oversees our Pioneer Center and social services, and also manages our events. She's Taylor's supervisor. So as you may know, the city, and through your Parks and Recreation Department, is a member of the Oregon Recreation and Parks Association. We're a longstanding member with that organization. That organization, known as ORPA, is comprised of hundreds of park and recreation professionals, people mostly in the public sector, and businesses that support those professionals across the state of Oregon. And there's an annual conference. At that annual conference every year, there are some awards given out that are recognition by peers. And at the most recent conference in early April, Taylor Miller was bestowed the recognition of the Rising Professional Award. And so this award recognizes, it's the Rising Professional Award recognizes a park and recreation professional with less than 5 years of experience in the field and who possesses the qualities and skills of an emerging leader. I would suggest that he's not just emerging, he is a leader. The awardee demonstrates outstanding leadership, initiative, innovation, and contribution to the parks and recreation profession in Oregon. Within their career, the awardee has shown steady career advancement, a commitment to ongoing professional development, recognition and respect from coworkers and colleagues as an emerging leader, and engagement with community and professional organizations. We are immensely proud of Taylor. He is most definitely worthy of the recognition that he received recently from his hundreds of peers across the state. His work is highly valued, and he does a wonderful job, particularly with the very highly visible special events. Taylor's responsible for a number of our special events, concerts in the park, 4th of July, the recent OC Fall Fest, and more. Since his time with the city, which hasn't been that long, he's been very impactful and has made great contributions to Oregon City, and we really look forward to his continued contributions. And with that, we'd like to share this
Well,
short video.
Cecily, do you want to say something?
I would love to.
Please do.
Thank you, Mayor and Commissioners. You'll hear a lot of my thoughts in this video, but I just want to echo the thoughts that Scott said. It has been an honor and a joy to have Taylor on our team. We have done very exciting things in regards to events, and I think truly you'll get the gist of my true and full thoughts with the video. So thank you.
And with that, thanks, Cecily. And with that, just so you know, this is a video that the city was required to submit because we received, before Taylor was aware, we received notice from the association that he was indeed selected as the winner of this award, and all of the winning organizations have to submit a video. And thanks to Jared for his help in putting this together. But this was shown at the conference during the award ceremony in front of the large crowd of attendees, hundreds of people from across the state.
How did you keep it from him?
Well, it was he was lured in under the guise that this was for something else. In fact, he appears in his own video and he didn't know what it was for. He was tricked.
Excellent.
Being Taylor's immediate supervisor is an absolute gift. He, almost immediately upon hire, gained absolute trust from all of his coworkers, and he crosses division lines as well. So the people that he works with are from many different divisions.
I was at an event not long after he started, and his name came up, and every single person, their faces all lit up, and they were like, that guy is amazing.
Taylor is just one of those people that you want to work with and you want to be around.
One of the things I really love is just his focus on the community. Everywhere I go, I hear from community members about how much he means to them, the work he does, how much they value it. And we've just seen a huge increase in the participation rates in our different events.
Oregon City Parks and Recreation Department has always had really wonderful events, but the ability for him to enhance those events and truly elevate them comes from collaboration with others. It comes from just the ability to look through this inclusive lens.
The last thing that I really wanted to make sure we did was that everybody felt like they were coming to an experience. It's like Thursday nights was the place to be in Oregon City. So that experience for me is so important.
Taylor serves our entire community so incredibly well, from the seniors at the senior center to those that are young and of every age group attending the concerts in the park. He thinks of all of them and the needs that they have.
Well, Taylor, we're going to say a bunch of stuff and then you can have the last word. Okay. So, commissioners, go ahead.
Well, congratulations. I just want to say that I've been so impressed by your work, most recently the Fall Fest, but when I had brought up the need for an Independence Day celebration, you turned what my vision was into that reality, and so I really appreciate it. Just even that first year, it was a huge success. It was even better this year, and as we approach 250, we will be expecting a lot, but we know that you will be able to deliver for us, so congratulations and thank you.
Commissioner Mitchell?
The Fall Fest in particular, that was a great event. And to realize that that was the first time, and to pull something off like that off like it with no hiccups, the first time out of the box is just incredible. And you're one of those people with an attitude, and everybody wants to be pulling the wagon with you because of the attitude that you bring all the time. On long days, when people like Commissioner Marl throw a 4th of July celebration on you with not nearly enough notice, and you pull it off. So just thank you.
I just want to say thank you so much. Our community is really fortunate to have you. And I genuinely just appreciate so much what you do for the people of Oregon City. Thank you.
I think I met Taylor before you started working at the city, and the great thing about you is you're the same person everywhere. And so I got to know you pretty well, and then seeing you and the work you've done in the city has been really great, so congratulations.
Well, I can just add to what everybody else has said. When Taylor calls you on the phone and tells you to be somewhere and be dressed a certain way, you just show up and you just do whatever you have to do to be there. So you're, so the Fall Fest, called him up and I said, okay, what's our attire? And he said plaid. He called me for the diner event, and he said, show up in 50s. So I just say thank you so much. Thank you for all that you do. It's a lot of work, and I see you running around at concerts in the park, because I'm also there running around at concerts in the park. So it's just, it is a joy, and you do bring smiles to people in our community, and I think people in Oregon City really want to have fun, and they want to dress up, and they want to do fun stuff. So thank you for bringing that to the surface so that people can have that outlet. And you can have the last word.
I won't take very much time. Thank you for your kind words, all of you, and Scott and Cecily. I was not expecting this award at all. I've only been with Oregon City and with the Parks and Rec career field for 2 years and a couple of weeks. But it's been wonderful. It's the best career move that I made, and very thankful for the team that I have. I can't do what I do without the people that work around me and support these events. Cecily has been a wonderful supervisor that encourages me to keep moving forward on all of these new ideas, and we always are thinking of new things to do, so we're excited to bring those this year and moving into the future. I do want to thank everyone in the aquatics department as well, and the aquatics division. They jump into our events like concerts, but also 4th of July and Fall Fest in a way that we couldn't do without the support of the part-time staff and some of the full-time staff there as well to help support those events. So it's not just me, but I am very grateful for the honor and the privilege to work in the city and to be recognized for that work. So thank you.
So do you have your award with you?
I do not.
Because I said bring it because we're going to do a photo op.
You did. So you're really good at listening to me when I ask you to be somewhere. But no, I do not, unfortunately, have the award. We can Photoshop it into the
We'll do the photo
picture.
op anyway. So Jared, one more time, guys. Let's
Thank
take a
you.
picture with Taylor and staff.
All right, on 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay.
Got it. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for that little place. So I want to thank everybody that was here tonight to receive recognition. We don't, as Oregon City, do enough to pat ourselves on the back for all the good work that we're doing here in the community. And it is really, really important that we recognize that. You know, from being out there, and I guess I was out not too long ago with Dee Dee. We were schlepping weeds and pulling up quack grass, which is, tougher than you think, and then shoveling compost on top of stuff at the pollinator garden. And then all the restoration work. If you haven't had a chance to walk down John Adams Street down by 17th and look at the restoration work on Abernathy Creek, that's due in part to our friends at the Watershed Council. There's just so many things. And then, walking by the elevator and seeing Beverly smile or talk to a person that she didn't know. I don't think there's a stranger that you haven't met that's now not become a friend. So you see people. So I appreciate, and I know our commission appreciates all the work that you all do, whether you're recognized today or not. Just know that we do appreciate everything that you do because it makes a difference. You can just see it. And every time I do a tour on the promenade and I talk to people about the work that's being done, and they always ask me about Keith and Lila. They say, well, who are those people? And I tell them who they were and all the work that they did and how we are keeping that tradition going. So thank you, everybody, for all of your wonderful, good work. We do appreciate you. Thank you. So we're going to take just a quick 1-minute break while we switch people out because we have other people coming in. So thank you so much. Just take a quick recess. Thank you. I'd like to call the meeting back to order. And next on our agenda, we have item number 4, which is public comments. And I will call people up 2 at a time. And if you'll just state your name and city of residence for the record. And just as a reminder, these are for items that are not currently on the agenda. So if it is an agenda item, I'll just check these really quick too. We'll have to wait till we get to that particular agenda item. Give me 1 second here. Dee Dee, you have 3 items you want to talk about? Okay. No, I didn't call your name yet. I just was looking at your slip. You say 3 items. So, okay, perfect. All right. For those of you who have not been here before, we do have 2 sets of microphones at each of the tables. Jacob will set a timer for 3 minutes. If somebody has said something that you already said, you say the same thing. If you have something that was written that you submitted, we do have it, except for whatever you gave us tonight. We're obviously not going to have time to read that before we get to this. But if you submitted something in advance, we have received it and we have read it, so there is not going to be any need for you to read it verbatim. So just be mindful that there are lots of people here and we want to hear everyone. So I'm going to call up James Nasita and Dee Dee Dahlstrid. by the way, I forgot, if anybody needs a hearing device, we do have those. Jim?
Thank you. Mayor and Commissioners, good evening. My name is James Nasita, and I live in Oregon City. Earlier this year, a group of dedicated Oregon City citizens came together to defend our right to vote on urban renewal debt. Over the course of that effort, we realized that we could not let our guard down, and that moving forward, we needed to be proactive in standing up for accountable government in Oregon City. We have stuck together. We have met regularly, we have studied our charter and codes, and we have deliberated on a course of action to undertake reforms in the public interest. Recently, we voted unanimously to undertake our first campaign, an initiative petition to put a measure on the ballot to amend our charter to have our city attorney employed by and accountable to our elected representatives on the city commission. Before you, passed from Jacob, is a simple two-word amendment to Section 11 of the city charter. Several of our group have braved the weather to demonstrate support, and I'm going to ask them to stand or wave and let folks know they're here. And Dee Dee, Jordan, and Judy will be speaking after me. I will be one of the chief petitioners. It's no secret that I have been the squeaky wheel on this. After we get past some initial hurdles, Dee Dee will be joining me as a co-chief petitioners. We may even have a third. We will need about 3,000 valid signatures. That will be a lot of work. And in addition to gathering our own signatures, we will have to raise money to pay professional signature gatherers. So we have been brainstorming on how to do fundraising. One idea that I have offered, I have an absolute mountain of historic research that I have never gotten around to publishing. I will be giving numerous fundraising lectures on Oregon City's history, like steamboat history. I will give a talk on steamboats, the likes of which Oregon City has never seen before. Now, on the other hand, this commission could take a simple vote to refer the matter to voters so that the citizens can focus on fundraising for a measure campaign, for example, to pay for expensive voter pamphlet statements. As the video I sent you last night demonstrates, the City Commission has not decided to move forward with such a charter amendment. Commissioners, I can't wait anymore. I'm getting old. I'm going to get this done before I croak. If it takes us 2 years, the law allows, so be it. But it is never too late for the commission. As we proceed, we hope you will act in the interests of both the citizens and yourselves and refer the measure to the voters. Thank you.
Please don't clap. Don't, please. Thank you. Go ahead.
My turn? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
My name is Dorothy Dahlsred. I live in Oregon City for over 50 years. I have 3 points I'm going to make. I have a very difficult time hearing, so I'll make a statement. If you have any questions, I can't hear it. So anyway, first I'd like to let you know I'll stand behind Jim with our Right to Vote group. I believe our city should be involved and receive the same advice and representation as our city manager, and transparency is good for all. If our commissioners wish to make a request for a simple vote, that would make matters easy. But if not, I'm offering myself as a chief petitioner, one of the chief petitioners, and start collecting those signatures. We all know I've done that. So, thank you very much for that attention. Also, I would like to speak about number 2, Elyville. Molalla is for sale, especially the corner of Molalla and Pearl and going up. We've experienced we've experienced some new apartment dwellings that have built along there. Aquila was our sounding voice to help us try to get retail on the bottom. We have houses that are being built, it's not even 10 feet from the sidewalk. And some are even like 5.5 feet from the sidewalk. There's there's no privacy, and that's not good for a thriving community. When you can walk to places and do things, especially on the corner of Pearl, they've had some wonderful old businesses there that have survived all kinds of adversities. But I'd really like to see that wonderful livability coming back, restaurants and whatever they put in, insurance agency to a bug killer, and a U-Haul has been there, salons, anyway. It's important that we bring back retail on the bottom, especially on Molalla Avenue. Okay, I'll get on to number 3. I think you all know I'm here to talk about what happened on Main Street, trees. That's what I always bitch about. We have got to make a real effort with our code enforcement to follow up every single lead, and if they suspect there's cutting, stop and ask. I have experience calling code enforcement for illegal cutting, which I knew were illegal cutting because I knew they didn't have permits. Code enforcement wouldn't even go up and confront them. That's wrong, and sometimes it's per person. And if I was out there calling on Sunday, I don't think anyone would have said a darn thing. That's why I'm bringing it up this. We've got to be tough. We have got to let people know we have a tree code. And why not adopt what they would do in Lake Oswego and West Lynn? They would do something better than nothing. Years after the ice storm, they were being told, ice storm damage, you don't need a permit. Bull. Thank you very much.
Thank
Have you ever seen me get out before 3 minutes?
Yeah, you ran over a little bit. Zach Knudsen and Stephen King.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Zach Knudsen. I'm representing the Oregon City Police Employee Association tonight. I want to give you a quick update on the Records Department in the City of Oregon City. Earlier this year, we faced some budget cuts that included eliminating 1 records position in the 25 to 27 budget, leaving us with only 2 record staff. Shortly thereafter, one of our record specialists left the city, reducing our team to only 1. Fortunately, the police department has recently hired a new staff member to fill that vacancy. However, it is still very understaffed. In 2003, the records department had 1 manager and 3 records specialists for about 28,000 residents and 32 sworn officers. By 2025, we have only 2 record specialists for about 38,000 residents and 46 sworn positions. Currently, there is a backlog of over 1,600 cases and reports that await to be processed. When we had 2 fully records personnel fully trained, that backlog was around 670 reports. When we had 3 fully trained records personnel, they were down about 150 reports. Our front office is overwhelmed and receiving numerous inquiries from victims and other agencies about the status of a case. This situation illustrates an important opportunity that the City of Oregon City has to enhancing the staff within the records department. By considering an increase in personnel, we can significantly improve our processing efficiency and responsiveness to ones who we served. A well-staffed department is essential for managing our records in a timely and organized manner, which ultimately fosters a more efficient service environment. I just wanted to lead with a few interesting stats from other agencies around the neighborhood. City of Milwaukee has 33.4 or 33.5 sworn officers, a population of 21,000, and it has 1 records manager and 2 records specialists. City of Tualatin has 41 sworn officers, a population of 28,000, and employs 1 records manager and 3 records specialists. City of West Lynn, which has 28 sworn officers and a population of around 27,000, and employs 1 records manager and 2 records specialists. City of Sandy has 17 sworn officers, a population of about 13,000, and it employs 1 supervisor, 1 full-time record specialist, and 1 part-time. City of Kaiser has 42 sworn officers, a population of about 40,000, and it employs 1 records manager and 3 records specialists. And I just want to point out that reports and cases and follow-up is not the only thing that our records department does. They have a lot of things that they have to do, and to put that burden on 1 person has completely overwhelmed our record personnel. We are glad to have the second one, but we need help. Thank you for your time.
Chris, while you're waiting, come on up. Chris K. Go ahead, Stephen.
My name is Stephen Kong, resident of Beaverton. Commissioners, Mayor, City Recorder, Chief, and Management, thank you for your time to listen and hear the issues and interests that the Local 350-2 would like to bring up. And basically, in 3 points, I'd like to tell you my story, their story, and our ask. So, I am a network analyst. Basically, I do IT. There's nothing sexy about it. But one of the reasons I chose to work for the City of Oregon City is that I have a deep passion for public service. I believe in serving each other, making our communities better, and doing our part. And I believe if we all do our part, we can all make things better for all of us involved. And so when I think about telling my story, I can't help but tell the story of my fellow public service members. So for example, in water, they keep our water safe. They look out for harmful substances that I can't even pronounce, but they do it diligently. They work in and out, and I trust that the water we drink is safe and protected. As well, the public service members that roll up their sleeves and get dirty, they make sure that there's no standing sewage on the bottom of a street. They make sure that clean water comes in and sanitary water goes out. And they do their job faithfully and diligently, and it is an honor to serve next to them. The ask that I'm asking you, and I'm a little late to this, but to throw in our 2 cents, is to keep us in mind. We are going through as a forecast what might have been called a structural deficit, windfall, not a windfall. We got to run lean. Whatever the verb or noun that we choose, tough times are ahead. And we have to take care of each other. And what we're asking is that you remember us, keep us in mind when you make difficult decisions, and to consider us and our service to each other and to the community. So with that in mind, I am saying that we are working hard, we continue to work hard, but with the hiring freeze and short staff, there's only so much we can do before cracks start showing, before morale gets hit. And we are doing our best to keep high morale, to keep ourselves in good spirits, but we have to ask the commissioners, the mayors, and management your help to make sure that we are not overburdened and that morale crashes. So I thank you for your time. I would be happy to keep communication open for any commissioners that want to speak directly to labor management. And I thank you, commissioners, for reaching out to us or responding. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Chris.
Thank you, Commission and Mayor. My name is Chris Conkey. I'm a patrol sergeant with the police department of this great city. I'm speaking today not only as a member of the OCPEA, but as a resident of Oregon City. Currently, the OCPEA is in contract negotiations with the city that have failed to the point where we are now in mediation. My dialogue today is to reveal why the settling of this contract is not only vital to the success of the police department, but of the city of Oregon City. I've served in police work for 19 years over the course of that 4 different communities throughout the state of Oregon, and I've seen this career endure a lot of challenges. One of the main ones has been recruiting and retention, not only locally but nationally. Fewer and fewer people are applying, good quality applicants are hard to come by, and every agency is fighting for those applicants. Many of those good applicants are choosing agencies based on contractual benefits. Being in the Portland metro area, we have a lot of competitive market with the number of departments in a close area. In the past 5 years, numerous officers have left OC for other agencies, some for contractual advantages offered by those agencies. Currently, we have 3 officers who are in the final stages of leaving Oregon City for other agencies. 2 of those agencies are actually smaller than Oregon City.
Through retirements and resignations, we have as many as 8 vacancies in the next 6 months. It takes about a year to get someone to solo status at a cost of about $100,000 per officer. Each person who leaves is experience loss, staffing, and all of that puts a strain on current officers who are forced to work overtime and impacts the operational needs of the department, such as traffic, school resource officers, and detectives. And if this staffing continues, we can't continue to fill those assignments. The staffing is going to take years to fix, and without a strong contract, this task will be even more difficult. This contract is an investment for the future. It is one of the instruments used to retain good quality officers who won't leave for greener pastures. A good contract is a selling point many like I use to try to entice other people from other departments to come to this one. If we allow other cities and jurisdictions to continue to get strong contracts, stronger than Oregon City, the department will suffer in the long run. Having this contract unsettled is bad optics, and it leaves a lot of the employees just with a feeling of angst and a feeling of being unsupported. We can't afford to lose our competitive edge in this already competitive market, and I fear the longer this contract goes unsettled, the greater these issues will be magnified. Thank you.
Thank you. Jordan and Judy.
Called you first.
Uh-oh, the debate.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. My name is Jordan Edholm, and I live here in Oregon City. I would like to add to tonight's discussion regarding the city attorney. I have presented you with 2 exhibits for reference. The first exhibit is the text of the Oregon Constitution, Article 6, Section 8. The second sentence reads, "All county and city officers shall keep their respective offices at such places therein." The city attorney of Oregon City is unquestionably a city officer. The Oregon Constitution therefore requires the office of the city attorney of Oregon City to be located within Oregon City. That doesn't mean a sham office like an empty room with a sign that says Office of the City Attorney. It means the city attorney is physically present in an Oregon City office, attending to the needs of the city and its citizens. Let's envision a city attorney who is a full-time city employee with an office in Oregon City. Would that city attorney have enough to do? Unquestionably, yes. Here's why. The second exhibit is the Oregon City Muni Code section on the city attorney. Duty to prosecute states, "The attorney shall be the public prosecutor of the city. It shall be his duty to diligently inquire into and prosecute in the municipal court all violations and infractions of the laws of the city." The first point is, if we had a full-time city attorney with an office in Oregon City, we would not have to contract out for an attorney to appear in the municipal court. The second point is, if we had a full-time city attorney with an office in Oregon City, we could do better than complaint-based code enforcement and instead have true proactive code enforcement as the code requires. For example, we could finally proactively address the constant unending violations of the tree code. Mayor and Commissioners, please begin the process of reforming the office of a city attorney, including making the hiring of the city attorney the power and responsibility of you, the elected representatives of the people. Thank you.
Judy?
Good evening. My name is Judy Schaefer. I'm a resident of Oregon City for over 35 years. I'm also going to speak on this subject. In February of 2022, the city of Oregon City voted to refer to Oregon City voters a ballot measure. The object of this measure was to amend our city charter to eliminate numbered positions for city commission and to have the top 2 vote getters to be elected to the 2 open seats for city commission of each election. During that meeting, referring to the proposed
top two process for electing commissioners, Commissioner Adam Marles said, "We are behind. Most of our peer cities do this process for electing, in their case, mostly councilors. So I agree that we need to be looking at our main document so that we can bring it up to today's standards." Oregon City voters passed Measure 3, 583 at May 2022 election, and we now use the top two system to elect our city commissioners. Mayor and commissioners, there is another city process for which we are behind our peer cities. That is who hires and fires the city attorney. I passed out a chart showing which jurisdiction charters in the metro area give employment authority over the city attorney to the manager, and which jurisdictions give that authority to the city commissioner council. Only Oregon City and Tualatin City charters give that authority to the manager. I think it's long past time that regarding control over the city attorney, Oregon City brings its charter, as Commissioner Marl then said, up to today's standards. While it's true that Oregon City has a unique identity and history, which is revered and treasured, having a charter that does not place control of the city attorney into the hands of the duly elected representatives of the people, and therefore the people, is nothing to boast about or be proud of. I believe that the city attorney should ultimately be here for the interests of the people, and by that I mean that is through our elected representatives. Thank you.
Thank you. Suzanne and Hunter Howard.
Press the green button.
There we go. Good evening, esteemed Mayor, Commissioners. Thank you for holding this space for me to speak. My name is Suzanne Mills. I am a 20-year Oregon resident, and I have also worked for the city for almost 10 years at the library, which is a dream come true for me. One of the services the library brings to the community is physical materials to borrow. Those materials begin and end their life with me as the library's technical services specialist. I am honored to collaborate daily with the most dedicated and talented staff that select and manage those materials, as well as ensure that the community can find them. Materials like books, DVDs, puzzles, sewing machines, just to name a few. Dozens of highly thoughtful, specialized collections for humans from birth through the end of life and beyond. We also have one unique collection called BAM, Because Access Matters, curated for community members with disabilities or other barriers to access. Because library folk are very serious about barriers to access and removing them. What my colleagues and I do matters. And because access matters, it's not just the materials, but the access to our building and meeting spaces, reference assistance, programs for all ages, a computer lab with stellar technology support, and yes, at times, even our bathrooms really matter to the community. And if you were to eavesdrop on the conversations among staff of the library, you would hear joy in the retelling of connecting to community members, introducing a reluctant emerging reader to that perfect book, young adventurers coming and reporting out on the status of their critter quest. You might hear shared a recent lovely Yelp review that echoed numerous expressions of gratitude for the undying patience of our staff, for the technologically advanced, or technologically kind of challenged, that keep coming back to the Oregon City Public Library for that help. You would also see the kindness and compassion for our underserved, unhoused community members who come to the library to seek services and also just to seek shelter from the elements. The library is consistently ranked at the top, and if I'm not mistaken, more than once we have been the #1 department in citizen satisfaction surveys. And those results are made possible by the 15 represented humans that deliver the bulk of those services our citizens love. We come to work every day because we know what we do matters. Every represented human in every department in this city matters, and they are the ones that elevate their own departments and shoulder that essential workload. We believe you know what we do matters, and we do want to stay. We also need to pay our insurance, our utilities, our groceries, services, and the cost of living that are all rising at a frightening rate. Please, if you do agree that what we do matters, and you do want our talents to stay in Oregon City, please encourage city administration to do their part to settle a fair contract now, including fair and equitable
Everybody
cost of
got 3
living
minutes
adjustment.
time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hunter.
Hello, everyone. My name is Hunter. I'm a resident of Estacada, but I'm also a utility worker in the water department here at Public Works and also the AFSCME union president. We are here tonight not just as workers, but as dedicated members of this community who are committed to ensuring that our city and our residents receive the services that they deserve. As union members, we believe in the values of fairness, respect, and safety in the workplace. We understand that the decisions made by the commission and by the executive staff affect not only our jobs, but the lives of every resident who depend on the services we provide. From public safety to sanitation, to delivery of safe drinking water at every faucet, to the safety of motorists and pedestrians on our roads, we are the ones who keep the city running smoothly every day. However, those efforts can only continue if we ensure that workers are treated with the respect and compensation that they deserve. It is essential that the city invest in the necessary resources to ensure a prosperous and safe working environment to support our workforce. Without that investment, the services our community relies on could be in jeopardy. We are here to ask for your support to continue delivering the high-quality services our residents expect. We ask the City Commission to ensure that workers are treated justly. Thank you for your time and for considering the role that workers play in the success of our city.
Thank you very much. Alex Mawson and Austin Pitcher.
I'm Alex Mawson. I live in Portland. I'm privileged to be the president of the Oregon City Police Employees Association, representing approximately 50 men and women who serve as police officers, sergeants, detectives, code enforcement officers, community service officers, forensic technicians, behavioral health specialists, records specialists, and court clerks. These individuals work tirelessly to serve the members of our community and the city of Oregon City. We've been working without a contract since June 30th. The association is engaged in negotiations with the city for much of the year, and we've refrained from making any public comment in the hope that we could come to an agreement and sign a contract. However, as we prepare to enter mediation next week, we're coming to the City Commission to ask for your help. Help us find a resolution. Help us ensure that our members have competitive pay and benefits so that we can attract and retain the best employees in the metropolitan area. The lack of a contract creates uncertainty and concern for our members who may look for work elsewhere. I am aware that the city is feeling economic strain, but this same strain impacts each and every one of our members as costs continue to rise. We stand in solidarity with our city coworkers in AFSCME who are also working without a contract. The members of these two unions are our city's greatest asset and keep Oregon City running 24/7, 365. We're committed to working with the city to adopt a contract that fairly compensates our members, and I'm confident that you are too. We look forward to further discussion to resolve this matter as quickly as possible. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. My name is Austin Pilcher, and I currently have the privilege of serving as the Vice President of the Oregon City Police Employees Association. With that opportunity, I get to work with and represent some of the most tremendous men and women I've had the pleasure of knowing. Every day, they demonstrate their vested interest in supporting and bettering this community because it's who they are and what they believe in. When I was first hired by the Oregon City Police Department in 2017, I had achieved a childhood dream. I'd always wanted to serve others in some capacity, and what better way to do that than as a police officer in the town that I grew up in and that I still live in today. In the years that would follow as my career developed, I felt like part of a family at my workplace. It felt supportive of your well-being and felt like I worked for an employer who wanted to make sure its police were supported and taken care of. As we sit here today, I have begun to doubt some of that. The Oregon City Police Employees Association is currently working without a contract and is trying to negotiate a contract with the city that once felt so supportive. However, it seems that the city has dug its heels in. While I understand costs have risen and financials are tight, these rising costs are the same for everybody. This includes the members of the Oregon City Police Employees Association that are all trying to also support their families. Mayor and Commissioners, I would ask you for your help this evening to move forward our contract and to show not only the Oregon City Police Employees Association support, but also AFSCME, the city's other union, who is in here in attendance tonight as well, as they go through the same unfortunate circumstance. These two unions are the city's biggest assets, as they're the ones who keep the city going. It's time to do the right thing and give the city's employees the support they deserve. We look forward to working further with the city to adopt a contract that fairly compensates our members and shows them the support they deserve. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. Thank you to everyone who came tonight and spoke in front of the commission. We certainly appreciate your comments, and we're going to take a very, very brief recess because we have 2 presentations that we need to tee up, so we'll take a brief recess. All right. All right. Next on our agenda, we have two presentations, and I'm pleased to call up the chief. And are you still the PIO, Brian? Are you still the PIO?
No, I'm one of the assistant chiefs.
The assistant chief, yes. I know he does everything. Anyway, for Clackamas Fire District Number 1 presentation, thank you for accepting our invitation to come and let us know what's going on with the bond.
Can you hear me now?
We can.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Mayor and Commissioners, Chief. Appreciate and city administrators. Appreciate you guys having us here. Want to give a quick little update, just really on the last quarter, and then I'm going to dive into some levy update on the bond. For the third quarter of the year for Clackamas Fire, we responded to 8,985 calls. Of those, 323 were fires, 5,641 were medicals. We had 68 hazardous condition calls and 1,000 service calls, and those are really non-emergent calls. We had a total property saved of $37,350,000. We're trending high like we do every year for call volume, but that's to be expected. Our men and women at Clackamas Fire do amazing things every single day, and I'm super proud to be their fire chief. And moreover, I'm really proud to be your fire chief. A little bit about Clackamas Fire. Clackamas Fire is the second largest fire district, protective district in the state of Oregon. We service currently 300 square miles. Ooh. Yep, 300 square miles and about 250,000 residents. We have approximately 420 career and volunteer personnel that respond from a wide variety of apparatus. We have a wide range of services that we provide: technical rescue, water rescue, urban search and rescue. We're paramedic staffed, technical rescue of all nature, hazmat. What's unique really about Clackamas Fire since 2020 and the wildfire threat that we faced in 2020 and since then is we have a Type 2 IA wildland hand crew. We're the only municipal fire department in the state of Oregon that possesses that, and they're utilized not only locally but throughout the state and throughout the country. The levy. Diving into the levy, you'll see there on the right-hand side really the ballot question to refer to the community in 2023, May 2023, which so graciously the community found value in and supported. And what that levy promised was to fund 62 firefighters, reopening Station 12, reopening Station 13, and Station 13 is really the closest to Oregon City, that affects Oregon City. That's in the Clarks area, right next to Beaver Creek. Add quick response vehicles to the system, and then to enhance that wildfire mitigation and protection for all of our communities. Since 2020, we have had level 3 evacuations occur within the fire district every single year. And over the last 4 years, 2 times within the city of Oregon City. Actually, let me go back 5 years. We've had it 3 times because in 2020 we evacuated Oregon City, as I know you all remember.
You mean you evacuated part of Oregon City?
Thank you very much.
Because I don't think all of us left.
Not everybody, yeah, a part of it, and not everybody was in level 3. There was most of Oregon City was in level 2. Yeah. But what I'm talking about is actual level 3 evacuations over the last 5 years, and it is something that Oregonians are now having to get used to. This threat is real. It is not going away, but your fire department's preparing for it, and this levy has been huge in our preparation for it. Where we currently are, staffing. So currently, we are at 60 firefighters of the 62. We've hired 70 firefighters over the last 2.5 years. Of those 70, some were for attrition. That means people that have retired out. And then some, we had 63 of those positions were for the levy. 3 unfortunately didn't make it through academy or through probation. So we are currently sitting at 60 levy funded positions, and we have an academy coming up in the spring of 16. At that point, we will have achieved the promise of 62 firefighters that we had promised for the communities. Station 12 and Station 13 are opened up. Station 12 was opened up in July, but the one that I would like to highlight is Station 13. Since Station 13 has been opened up, we're right around 300 calls for service. Of those 300 calls, 40 of them have been for fires. And why is that important? Because Station 13 responds into Oregon City, as well as fire engines and ladder trucks respond out of Oregon City to that area. And so when that was not staffed, that meant that an extra fire engine that was based in the city of Oregon City would have to respond into the Clarks and Beaver Creek area, to which they don't have to now. So that really gives us that response reliability within the city, as well as the surrounding areas. We've had improved response times, as well as capabilities throughout the entire fire district, and that's from border to border. I've got a couple pictures here just to show you the reopening of Station 12 and Station 13. And it's really a bad picture. I don't know if you've got a good screen to see it, but you can see that farm style house right there, second picture in. About a month after opening Station 12, the arborvitaes that you see running the front of that house into the side of that house caught on fire. Now, before that station was opened up, the closest fire engine to that location is about 9 minutes away. That was across the street from Station 12. The crews were dispatched. They were there within 2 minutes. It was at 3 o'clock in the morning. The fire, as they arrived, was breaching into the attic of the residence. The crews immediately applied water, and so it was a great stop. Okay, it was a phenomenal stop. It shows why it was so important to open up that station. But the biggest thing for me as the fire chief is there was a family inside that house. The family had no idea that their house was on fire, and had that fire station not been there and not stopped that fire, we don't know what the outcome would have been. So these are all reasons why we went to the community and asked for what we did. Specific to Oregon City here, and the quick response units that I'd like to point out. When you hear quick response units, there's a lot of confusion, and there's a lot of different models that you can apply for a quick response unit. The model that we chose for the fire district, we wanted a lighter resource to respond to some of the medical calls, keep the heavier assets in service, but we wanted the flexibility for those apparatus to be able to be utilized for wildfire. So what you see here are two of the newest that were put into service this year. Station 17, Station 15, and Station 1 have these apparatus, and what these are also, they're Type 6 wildland brush trucks as well. There's 400 gallons on those apparatus. State Rescue 301 and Rescue 303, they're staffed by trained firefighter paramedics. This improves response efficiency in high volume areas. We have the Type 6 brush trucks at Rescue 15 and Brush 317 at Station 17 in South End. Station 17's brush truck, that is cross-staffed from the engine. And Rescue 315 during the summer was staffed. We've had overtime overruns, and we've had to go to minimum staffing for that brush truck, or for that rescue. So that is staffed some of the time. In 2020, to give you an idea of what we had before the levy, we had 13 wildland capable apparatus to respond to wildfire events. Now with the levy, we are currently sitting at 33 wildland capable apparatus. That is the most apparatus as far as preparedness of any municipal fire department in the state of Oregon, and any department in the state of Oregon except for ODF. So we are a big player in the wildland protection for the region, locally, the region, and for the state. I want to highlight a little bit on the wildfire mitigation updates. Again, 2020, we learned a lot. And to be honest with you, Mayor and Commission, we were not prepared for what we faced in 2020. But since then, we have. We've started that Type 2 hand crew. We've increased the staffing thanks to the levy, and we have the training level. We are leading in the state in this arena. The Type 2 hand crew has been utilized throughout the state. It was called, special requested early before the fire season here to Alaska, as well as to Calgary, Canada. Name requested, not just a run-of-the-mill, name requested to come because of the caliber of employees and the caliber of service we are in that arena as far as wildfire protection. We have great partnerships with OSFM, with ODF, with the Forest Service, Metro, CC, the Clackamas County Disaster Management, Soil Water Conservation, and we do a lot of fuel mitigation work throughout the region as well as throughout the state. These are just some pictures to highlight some incidents that we've had since the levy. The big one affecting Oregon City was the mill. And everybody remembers the mill fire that we had. But the great work, and it shows why it's so important to staff the way we staff, why our service model and our response reliability doesn't just depend on the fire engines or the ladder truck within the city of Oregon City. We utilize a model that we feed from outside areas as well as locally. So if for this fire specifically, the first alarm has 4 fire engines, a ladder truck, a heavy rescue, and a rescue that responds to it, a light rescue like that, Rescue 315, Rescue 301, Rescue 303. If it goes to a second alarm, it's that same amount of resources and then doubled. And they come from the other areas within Clackamas Fire. So adding the resources that we have across from border to border within the Clackamas Fire has increased our response reliability to all emergencies that we face, and we're able to better serve the community. And we just can't thank you enough. We can't thank the citizens enough for seeing value in this, and honestly, let me be your fire chief. We love our communities. We live in the city. And we just are grateful to be here, and I would be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions, gentlemen? Go right ahead.
I don't have any questions. I just want to say thank you so much for the service you provide to our community.
Thank you.
Appreciate it so much.
Thank you so much.
Why do I always have all the questions? So just a couple of things. If you want to back up on your slide.
Yes, ma'am.
You had.
Uh-oh.
Okay, you had the picture of the historic house. Now, I will honestly say I don't recognize that, so maybe this is being picky-uni, but that one there?
Yes.
That's not in Oregon City.
No, that's in Station 12, Logan area.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, I apologize. Yep, nope, that's not an OC. You would know.
Well, he would know.
Well, you both would know.
We would know.
You both would know. I'm sorry, I should have articulated that better. That was in the Logan community, that's Station 12. That was the station that opened up in July.
Yeah, I recognized the house, and I thought that was in, yeah.
You knew.
Upper Highland, so anyway, up Lower Logan and all that area. Okay.
Love it.
So just a couple of things. So one of the things that I recall from attending at least 3 of the sessions that were given when you all were out talking about the levy is that you talked about staffing at the stations. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that was mentioned many times is that there was going to be 4-person crews.
Yeah.
So do we have 4-person crews at the stations?
Yeah, we do. Station 16 has a 4-person ladder truck. Station 5 in Happy Valley has a 4-person heavy rescue. Station...
well, the one, of course, I care about the most
I know you care about Oregon City. Yep, I get you. I'm tracking. But the levy covers everywhere, right?
We get it.
You get it. So Lake Road Fire Station, Station 4 has 4-person staffed. Damascus, Station 19, which is one of our squad. It's an engine that carries extrication equipment and is a technical rescue. It's the water rescue team. They have 4-person staffed. Engine 8 and Engine 14 are 2 other apparatus based on overtime overruns that are 4-person staffed, but our minimum staffing on it is 3. So when somebody calls in sick, somebody takes a vacation, or something along those lines, much like the Rescue 315, then those apparatus, because they're dual apparatus or they have 4-person staffed, are moved to cover the overtime for another station.
So we never hear anything about the station at South End. What's going on with that?
So Station 17, that's where you have that brush truck. And the
Okay.
reason we put that brush truck there is because guess where
Where the brush is.
well, where the brush, with that along, as well as 99 at the Bluff, that's a very big impact and a target hazard for us. But off of South End, that's where the last couple years we've had those level 3 evacuations where I've talked to Chief Davis or City Manager Conkle at about 3:30 in the morning or 2:30 in the morning talking about, hey, we're doing some evacuations. So we put, with the levy funding, we were able to put a Type 6 brush truck there.
Yeah, I appreciate the fact that all of our emergency services providers did the after-action report, and it's unfortunate that people who were in level 2 decided to evacuate, which is why we had the problem with the traffic and the
Yes, ma'am.
backup. So it was, I guess people just thought they were all going to get ahead of the game, but we really needed to save the roadways for those people in level 3 as opposed to level 2. So,
Completely.
my other question for you is just sort of a philosophical one. So I know from my colleagues over in Gladstone that they're going to decide whether or not they're going to join the district.
Yes.
So how big is too big? I mean,
That's a great question.
one of the things that I get concerned about is that we have economies of scale.
Yep.
And you said, the second largest fire district except for, and I thought, wow, that's a lot.
Yeah. Yep. I really think, and I'm going to answer this question, and you tell me if I'm starting to get too wordy, okay? Number one, Gladstone, 75% voted yesterday to annex into Clackamas Fire. And so I'm never going to say until every vote is counted that what we're talking about has been completed and they are part of the fire district, but it is looking very good for them to go transfer from a contract for service provider, which is what we currently are, to being part of the family fully.
Sure.
So that vote is looking really, really good. As far as economies of scale, and I think there's really two ways to look at it, Mayor. We are being the biggest fire department in Clackamas County. The smaller agencies immediately get overrun on any sort of incident that is a house fire or anything along those natures. So guess who comes in to help them? Clackamas Fire. And so when you look at fires and emergencies, there's no geopolitical boundaries to a fire or a medical emergency. It's human beings that create boundaries. And as we are having, much like we're hearing tonight a little bit, revenues and expenditures are outpacing. We need to get outside of ourselves and think bigger, in my opinion, of how to maximize the taxpayer dollar and utilize that fiduciary responsibility that we've all raised our right hand to swear an oath to do. And if I'm a fire chief, I don't think it makes much sense to have 5 or 6 fire chiefs all in the same area. If I'm a fire chief, now I can manage those areas and I can maximize those wages to add more firefighters onto the streets. Because ultimately, when 911 is called, we need people trained and there quickly. And so to me, I do hear you and I do understand there is a potential of getting too big, but as long as I can continue to add more firefighters on the streets, then I don't see an issue with the growth that we are having. Now, granted, you can sprawl too far, but it all comes down to service level for me, Mayor. And if I can add more firefighters on the streets that benefit the community that we are annexing, as well as benefit the district, then I see that as a synergistic win-win. Did I answer that?
Yep.
To her?
I get asked that question quite a
Yeah.
bit, and I said, well, I don't know.
Yeah.
I said, I don't.
think my comfort level is we're getting there. We're getting to where I see that we are getting to that sweet spot of service level.
Right. So I think last time you were here, one of the things you mentioned about asking for community members to get involved And I
Yes.
think, Brian, you were telling me that there may be some vacancies coming up on some of the budget committees for Clackamas Fire District. Would you like to say anything about that in case we have some potential folks out here in the audience that might be interested in applying?
Yeah, certainly, Madam Mayor, thank you for the question. So every year, just like many agencies, many cities, many special districts, we have our budget committee, which is an equal number of representatives. So we have 5 on our board and then 5 citizen members of the budget committee. And any given year, we have the opportunity to have a term expire on that committee and have the opportunity to have citizens or community members apply to be part of that. And occasionally we have people who may not complete their entire term, so there may be more than anticipated. I believe we usually go out in about January or February to announce those vacancies. So that would certainly be published on our website, would be our primary piece. There may be other opportunities within the social media or within our quarterly newsletter to announce those as well. So that's a piece of it. And then also coming up, we have a few board members, board vacancies that will be coming up. And there's always the opportunity to have other community members put themselves out there, look for that opportunity to serve their community, provide their voice into our organization. So I think we have some coming up. I think it's in 27 will be our next opportunity unless there's a vacancy ahead.
Yeah, there's 3 that will be due in 2027.
2027? Okay, well, we'll, obviously get any of that information to our communications manager, and he will put that out on our sources, and that way we can see if there's any potential volunteers out there.
Would that be helpful, Mayor, if I just let Tony know and then is that?
Sure, Tony and Jared, whichever
Jared,
way.
maybe I'll have my comms get with Jared.
Sure.
That'll be
Perfect.
the better. Okay, sounds great.
Anything else, gentlemen? So thank you for coming, giving us an update. It's always a good occasion when we can have our partner district come in and tell us, people are feeling a little anxious, as you can well imagine, since tax statements just went out. I was there this morning myself talking to several people who were paying their property taxes, and they didn't seem unhappy, so that was at least good while I was there. I don't know what happened after I left, but they were 5 happy people in the building when I was there, so. But anyway, so we just appreciate it, and we'll look forward to your next update. And thank you so much for accepting our invitation.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks.
Tom, you're back.
I am. I never left.
Well, we're glad you didn't. So next on our agenda, we have an update from the Greater Oregon City Watershed Council, the presentation. Thank you so much. And we did get your PowerPoint, which is amazing.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Mayor McGriff and commissioners. It's great to be back here and to chat with you. I'm still the executive director of the Greater Oregon City Watershed Council. I think this is like 4th or 5th time that I've presented to y'all. I also want to acknowledge just right off that I have behind me 3 members of our board, and including an additional prior member of our board, and 3 of the 4 are founders of the Great Oregon City Watershed Council, which started back in 2004. So that's commitment right there. I also know that some other board members are attending via YouTube, so I want to acknowledge their participation as well.
Do you want to call them out by name since?
Absolutely, yes. So behind me here, Chetamir Jessic is the chair of our board. And Sarah Miller is our secretary. And I'm going to embarrass Becky here. Becky is a founding board member. She's no longer on our board, but Becky Miller next to Sarah. And then Doug Neely, perhaps you know Doug. Doug is also a founding member.
He's so new to us, we're just not familiar with him at all.
And then those not in attendance, and I don't know if they're watching on YouTube, but Allison Heimowitz is also a founding member and treasurer of the council. Marcia Sinclair is the vice chair of the council, and Danielle Folliard is a member at large for the council. And then Jay Wilson represents Clackamas County on our board, and Marcos Kubo represents City of Oregon City on our board. So very grateful to all of them. They show up, and that is much appreciated. Tonight, what I would like to do is talk to you about, I'm gonna pull up my presentation on my phone here because my eyes are not as great as they once were.
But you have the clicker, though.
I do have the clicker, yes, and we'll do this. Our Watershed Council, as I mentioned, has been around since 2004. I've been with the council since 2021. We really focus on 4 major areas of work in the watershed, and I really appreciated the previous presentation and discussion of boundaries. Watershed boundaries don't match city boundaries, they don't match county boundaries, they match where the water flows. And as we think about our council, we think about restoring habitat and waterways, we think about community engagement and partnerships, building capacity and commitment, and then planning for our future. And these themes roughly parallel what our strategic plan identifies as goals, areas to work within. All right. There we are. So our vision really is a watershed where healthy streams support abundant native fish and other species, including humans. So we are definitely probably the single biggest impact on the landscape and the waterways. But really, this vision is something that takes many, many different forms as we try to realize it. And what does health mean? It is challenging. We can kind of all see, I think, when parts of a watershed are unhealthy, but what does it mean to truly be healthy? So I want to share with you the boundaries where we work, or the focal areas where we work. And you've seen this map before, perhaps. There are 3 main areas. Abernathy Creek flows into the Willamette River and eventually to the Columbia below Willamette Falls. And our office sits right on the banks of Abernathy Creek. I'll talk about that a little bit more here and some of the work that we're doing in that drainage. Beaver Parrot Creek. So Beaver and Parrot Creek come together and empty into the Willamette above Willamette Falls. So that's that watershed kind of to the lower left. And they're similar in size, so they're both about 20,000 acres plus. And then they're where Oregon City proper sits, where we're sitting today, if my bearings are correct. We are in one of the smaller drainages that feeds into either above or below Willamette Falls. So these are creeks like Singer Creek or the creeks coming off Kenema Bluff. And some of those areas can be particularly tricky but impactful. So we'll talk about that. The type of work that we do habitat restoration work, but we also, navigating this on my phone is a little exciting. We also remove invasive plants and plant native plants. We provide technical assistance, education and outreach, and engagement with private property owners. Our council doesn't own any property, so we're working with private property owners willing to work with us, and we're working with public agencies and public landowners such as the City of Oregon City. All right. So a couple of big projects. One thing I want to say is that our annual reports are a little tricky because we work on a fiscal year that spans the calendar year, and then we also work on a biennium basis because Oregon Watershed Enhancement Board is one of our primary funders. And we also really have to look at projects over the long haul. And so, again, in gratitude for the people in 2004, and I want to really call out that year because that was the year the City of Oregon City recognized and acknowledged this Watershed Council. It was 2007 when Clackamas County acknowledged
But some of the projects that you're hearing about were really kind of glimmers, I think, in the eye of these folks behind me when they started this Watershed Council. So the first one, kind of the biggest lift ever for our Watershed Council is the Upper Abernathy restoration that is the aerial large wood, and that's on Port Blakely land. You may remember a couple of years ago, we had a helicopter flying over Knoll Creek Canyon, and that was placing large wood in there. This project was similar, but it was on 4 miles of creek on Port Blakely property. Port Blakely is a timber company, commercial timber company, fantastic partner. Couldn't ask for better folks to work with there. And that was funded through the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, again, in partnership with our Clackamas partnership, and Johnson Creek Watershed Council was the recipient of a $3.8 million grant. Our council had almost a $700,000 share of that grant. And I do want to point out that the contractor for that project is an Oregon City contractor. So they worked with Columbia Helicopters, which is not located in Oregon City, but that's bringing real dollars into this community to do work. The second item there, Jamestown Ranch tributary restoration, is one that we're working on right now. Andrew Robinson is our new restoration manager, and Andrew is the lead on that project. We're in design for that project right now. That will not be an aerial large wood project, but with similar goals, which are to restore native fish habitat. I want to highlight the picture on the right is actually these logs that are placed by the helicopter, and that may just look like a pile of wood to you, but that's a carefully designed structure to achieve hydraulic conditions and geomorphic conditions that are favorable not only to spawning salmon, but also to rearing young salmon and keeping the stream cool. To the left are a couple of volunteers. Volunteers are the backbone for our work at Singer Creek, Abernathy Creek, and Atkinson Parks. And you may have seen us out there planting. I know you are familiar with the work that we're doing down at the Abernathy Creek Park. You'll notice the same projects up here, but to the lower left is the Holcomb Creek restoration, and I didn't fancy this up with some videos, but if I had, what I would have showed you is that we have underwater video now of salmon, coho salmon, young returning or rearing in Holcomb Creek in our research project. So we went from 0 coho salmon in that project to a recorded 99 individual young coho. There are more coho in there, but that's what the ODFW snorkeling survey discovered there. So it's working. This is exciting for us. The Abernathy Shade Riparian Restoration one is a project the city participates in directly. So funds through Public Works help to support contractors that come in, they treat the sites, and then we go in and plant native plants. What we need is 50-foot tall trees all around the banks of Abernathy Creek, and we need them yesterday. And that's not real, doesn't happen. But what we can do is we can continue to work with these contractors who have very sophisticated techniques to try and get those plants growing as quickly and successfully as possible. This project is an example of our engagement efforts. You might think of engagement as, Tom and Kira and Andrew are out there chatting with people at tables at fairs, and we do that. But we are also meeting with individual property owners, and we're also meeting with folks like the folks up at the Beaver Lake Homeowners Association to try and work with them on a dam, Mompano Dam, that was built in 1970. It interrupts water about halfway down the watershed in Abernathy Creek. This fish ladder was designed shortly after that dam was put in. It does not meet current requirements for fish passage successfully, but we've been working with them to make necessary repairs as an interim stopgap to help fish get up above Mompano and above Beaver Lake. And the goal really with this community is to recognize their needs, understand what they are trying to achieve, and recognize the problems that are caused by this 1970s era dam and fish ladder, and how can we bring resources to bear to help them to solve those problems. This is a complicated one. This is a couple of decades or more. I'll probably be long gone, and my successor will be the one who hopefully tells you about the successes we have here. But really appreciate working with that community. There are good folks up there that are, in fact, well, anyway, I could talk all night. We also work to build community with our partners in the Clackamas Partnership. So we work with 3 other watershed councils: Johnson Creek Watershed Council in Portland, the North Clackamas Watersheds Council. Kira is actually a staff member at both North Clackamas and at our Watershed Council. So we split that position in order to have a full-time position and attract the skill set that she brings to our team. We also now have a restoration manager part-time in Andrew. I'm very grateful for that. We still have our office in Oregon City down at the Kruger House. We watch the creek Abernathy on a daily basis. I can tell you it's up right now. Things are flowing, things are being pushed around. We expect that this time of year. But really, we depend strongly on volunteers and community members to do what we do. And we do outreach events like this where we get together and we geek out and talk about the science and talk about what we can do to restore the healthy habitats in the watershed. This slide is not long enough, but these are many of the organizations and the people, represents many of the organizations and the people that support our council. We've gone through a period of growth in the last year, really the last couple of years. And I think that the council is trying to be prudent because we recognize that the period of growth we just went through may look a little different over the next couple of years. So we're doing some planning right now, some strategic planning and work planning. We have a strategic plan that has those 4 goals that I talked about a little bit. I'm not going to bore you with reading this slide, but I'll just tell you that our 24-28 strategic plan is in full flight right now, and we're working hard. In fact, also working with the Clackamas Partnership to develop a proposal for a next focused investment partnership, which is a 6-year proposition. Oregon Watershed Enhancement Board supports that, and our partners are heavily invested in that. We're considered one of the highest performing partnerships in the state of Oregon by OWEB, so very proud to be a part of that.
Awesome.
Thank you. So finally, our financial, well, not finally, but our financial support has shifted a little bit. Part of that is that the federal funds that we were able to access helped us to also receive some indirect funding. Indirect funding gives us that kind of protection against the future, if you will, and allows things like hiring a part-time restoration manager, which really helps me to go chase dollars. I mentioned that I was going to talk a little bit about Lower Abernathy, and I'll just tell you quickly that the dollars that you as a city have invested in the Abernathy Shade Project, I have taken that to heart and gone out and tried to use that to leverage other dollars. And we've tripled the amount of money that we have for that project by working with Clackamas Water and Environmental Services, by working with OWEB through their small grants program, and also with private property owners right around the office. I wrote out a list the other day. We have 11 property owners just around our office that we are working with right now. And I'm proud of that because I think we're in the more complicated part of the watershed when we're down there, a lot more people. So this is my last slide, and I just want to leave you with this is, as a watershed council, we really depend on the support of the community and the support of our partners and agencies. We are an open door. We are a boots on the ground kind of organization. When it rains, we're out there. When it's hot and dry, we're out there. We're looking at the water temperature, trying to think about how to help these salmon and these other fish to survive. We're very grateful to hear that Clackamas County Fire is out there looking at wildland fires and trying to protect the habitat that we're trying to build. So that's what I have for you tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Gentlemen, any questions? Kudos? Just one for me, just
Sure.
having spent quite a bit of time hiking in the Metro's Newell Creek area, we know that there's been a lot of degradation of the creek, and, you know, every time Metro and the city get in there and clean it up, it keeps happening. Are you doing any coordination with them at all, or do they keep you appraised of kind of what they're trying to do to keep the creek flowing instead of getting dammed up for people's bathing areas and other things of that sort?
Yeah, it's funny you should mention that. We'll be meeting next week with a team from Metro to talk about site visits for a couple of recent acquisitions. You're aware, I'm sure, that they've acquired property in Upper Holcomb Creek.
Yes.
And they've also acquired some property in Beaver Creek. And part of the discussion that our staff was having the other day was talking about the importance of the cool water that is contributed by Newell Creek. So Newell Creek, cool water tributaries are critical to the health of the watershed. And we'll really be emphasizing in our next work how to protect, how to work with property owners to understand where the cool water inputs are, what they can do, where the problem areas are, the warmer areas are. But on the boots on the ground, where we're really working right now is right outside our office, and we're in partnership with Love One and with Solve. We did a cleanup event there in the fall. Kira has led that up, and we'll be continuing to do that work through a community enhancement grant. So we're working a little lower in the watershed, but I'm always ready to work with Metro. They've been a good partner for us.
Well, on behalf of all of us, we appreciate all the work that you're doing, and the city, I know, appreciates it when, you know, we ended up purchasing those properties along John Adams Street because of the flooding danger. I think was probably one of the best projects that we've done with regard to helping maintain the health of Abernathy Creek. So thank you
Very
for
good.
all your work.
Good. Well, we're growing that project, so I'm not going to name names, but
Yes.
we're working with property owners down
Good.
there. And we are also looking for new board members. So
All right.
if
Another
you know
volunteer
anybody that
opportunity.
you think would be a good board member, hoping to bring 3 new board members on board in the next year.
All right.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so let's move on to item number 7. We have the consent agenda. Are there any questions about any of the items on here?
I move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to adopt the consent agenda.
Commissioner Scott Wilson?
Nay, and then I had a question.
Okay.
Okay.
Commissioner Mike Mitchell?
Can we hold for just a... hold-
Let's pull the items.
Did you have a question?
Yeah, I have a
about
question
item?
on item C. Sorry, you guys jumped in so quick on that.
Yeah, okay,
It's
let's-
a super brief question.
Okay, well, let's pull C and let's move ahead with everything else. Yeah, just
He needs to
withdraw.
modify, he needs to modify.
Okay, I will withdraw.
Yeah, withdraw. Let's just have a new motion and pull number C, and then we'll get right to it.
Okay, so I'll move to approve the consent agenda except item C.
Second.
Commissioner Scott Wilson?
Aye.
Commissioner Mike Mitchell?
Aye.
Commissioner Rocky Smith?
Aye.
Commissioner Adam Marl?
Aye.
And Mayor Denise McGriff?
Right, aye.
Motion passes.
So item C is one of the projects that we approved to move forward?
Yes. So my only quick question, I had looked through the charts and things like that. I want to make sure that the request for the vacation is strictly the foundation that's on the Promenade property. It's nothing outside of that.
Yes.
That's my understanding. I just
Yes.
wanted to clarify and make sure.
Yes, the only thing that I would say is slightly outside of that is the eaves of the house. We had to expand it just slightly to include that. Otherwise, you would have the foundation that would be in the vacated area, but the eaves of the house will still overhang our property.
Okay.
So it's just slightly wider than we originally thought it was going to be, but that's all it is.
Perfect.
Yes.
That's what I understood. Again, I just want to make sure.
Would you like to make a motion to?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve item C.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 25-33, initiating a vacation of 142 square feet from the McLoughlin Promenade Park.
Commissioner Scott Wilson?
Aye.
Commissioner Mike Mitchell?
Aye.
Commissioner Rocky Smith.
Aye.
Commissioner Adam Marl.
Aye.
And Mayor Denise McGriff.
Aye.
Motion passes.
All right, let's move on to, we don't have any public hearings tonight under item number 8, but we do have 2 items under number 9, general business, adaptive reuse, historic facade improvements, update 703 Main, and that is over to Mr. Graham.
On August 20th, 2025, London D Aesthetics, which is located on 705 Main Street, and an applicant of this program, Adaptive Reuse Building Rehabilitation, made a presentation about its application. And the City Commission voted at that time that it, and unanimously did so, in terms of approving the project as a project of interest. And which means that it's not you're not approving the entitlement process, but you're simply approving, seeing it as a project of interest so they can move forward and pursue its entitlement processes. Tonight, you also asked during that meeting to see some type of, some graphics or some renderings regarding the facade, the front facade, that reflected some of the historical aspects of that building. So we have here Derek Metzen from Greenbox Architecture, who is also representing Miss London, who will not be able to be here tonight, but he's representing her as well with regard to this project. So I will turn it over to Derek.
Thank you very much. Do you have the PowerPoint presentation we can open up? So thanks for sticking around to hear me today. And the good news is the funding for this grant has already been allocated, so you don't have to figure out how to work it into the budget. So, like any good business owner, Donna is working late tonight, so go small business in Oregon City. We're talking about the building located right next to Mi Familia, between Mi Familia and the Masonic Lodge, adjacent to the bridge, downtown Oregon City. There we go. Thank you. So here we are, that little orange circle next to the bridge. That's the modest building that we're talking about. The Cole building was built in 1908 and was formerly occupied by Don Pepe's. The majority of the building was. That tenant has moved out, and we're requesting to participate in a rehabilitation grant to go through and renovate approximately 70% of the building. So we're really going to stretch those funds, if allocated, to touch all aspects of this building. So right here, you can see a storefront that was put in place, and Rocky Smith had asked what that original storefront looked like. So we got an old photo here. You can see the Masonic Lodge to the left, demising wall Masonic Lodge on your right, demising wall on the left side. And this is actually 2 buildings that have kind of been conjoined. The original storefront was placed roughly 8-10 feet inside the building and has long since been removed. The current storefront is 6 or 8 feet in front of that. And we're proposing to take away kind of that rustic wood look on the front and mimic it with some stone that matches the current stone that's there. The stone that's local to Oregon City, and you can see on the Masonic Lodge, is a local basalt. The stone that they've put on the facade that's currently on the left side of the building, the south side of the building, is a gorge stone. So still sourced locally. It's not from Montana or something like that, but that's what.
Did you say the word gorge?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So here is a look, a few other photos from the application that was sent over to SHPO when they were looking at designating the building. It was not qualified to be historically designated, but you can see in times past it's consistently had a large fabric awning. At one time there was a decorative cornice up on top of the building. That's been removed, and as the building was unified, a large mural was put across the top of the building. And, over time, there's a certain character that comes of a city and a place. And we feel pretty strongly that those murals in downtown New York City speak to that story. And so it would be a shame to remove that mural to try and mimic some woodwork. We want to keep the mural. We want to put back that fabric awning, and we want to unify that front facade by bringing that gorge stone all the way across the base. So here's what we're proposing. The rendering shows the gorge stone a touch orange or redder than it is. It truly is more white. It's a matter of just rendering or screen projection. But as you can see, we're pulling that stone across, keeping that line directly below the mural coming all the way across, putting in a new fabric awning, and keeping the mural up above. Now, I'll remind you about the interior program for the building. We are taking that lower basement level, which is now unusable, taking out just a lot of junk and debris that's down there currently, and turning that into a number of executive offices. We're also going to go through the main floor, extend that out a couple hundred extra feet, increasing the usable square footage of this building by roughly 40% without changing the massing to any large degree, which is a pretty dynamic shift in the financial feasibility of this building, how many tenants we can have in this building without creating a 2 or 3 story structure in its place. We're able to maintain much of what's currently there. So here's a look. If you're standing south, looking north on Main Street, we're matching the awning level of Mi Familia right next door. Because of the pilasters that are on Mi Familia, they've got very tall awnings. We've got some decorative steel signs that are placed on the rock for Donna London's building. So matching that sign or that aesthetic, we're going to keep the signage consistent across the building face for the new tenants. Here's a look at the back of the building. You can see at some point in time there's a shed sort of structure that was put on the back. And while we couldn't leave that, we thought, hey, let's remove that. Let's
Generous and calling it a shed.
Take away that square footage, but you know what? We're going to do it right. We're going to put in some glazing on the back to bring light into that building. The building's only about 28 feet wide and 80 feet deep, 88 feet deep. It's narrow and deep. So any way we can bring light and activity into the building, that's what we're going to do right there. So this is the perspective that you'll see coming across the Oregon City West Lynn Bridge. So folks coming into patron downtown Oregon City from West Lynn, that's what they were seeing. This is what they're going to see. Much, much better look. So what are we going to do? We're going to take a building without much effect to the community, really do a great facelift, add 40% more square footage that's leasable, and I think it's going to be a little gem. It's going to be a little gem. So I'll keep it short and sweet. Our ask for you guys is that if you like what you're seeing, the direction that we're going, you approve that we continue conversations with city staff to figure out the nuts and bolts of the financials. That'll come before you too. It's just not an item we're talking about tonight. Design review, we do go through a design review. That's a type 1 process, so it's 2 weeks. We will submit this week, and we'll be done with that before we even talk about, really get into the nuts and bolts of the financials. So with that, I would take any questions.
Thank you so much. So there's a little plaque there somewhere that designates it as the OK Barbershop. So is that going to be put back on the facade?
The plaque will stay.
Yeah. I mean, I think, yes, sorry, thank you. Yeah. I mean, it's, glad you showed the picture of the old barbershop and with the shoe sign stand and everything, because it was really open, at that particular point in time, and then it wasn't. So, but that's, because I do see, when I'm downtown, particularly at Mi Familia, people do stop and they do read those. And, we want people, as we said earlier in a presentation we had from our DMMO directors, that, people come here because one of the reasons is we do have authenticity. We do have, they can look at that and say, hey, yeah, that's where this was and that's where this was, and, kind of knits our whole downtown together. And, you know, definitely, as we talked last time about the rear facade, and I know that Donna just hates the way it looks now, but that's going to get remedied. I think this is totally moving in the right direction. And as much as I would like to see a different type of stone there, I understand the logistics and the financial implication of continuing that. And when I went back over there to look at it, I said, oh yeah, it's not nearly as red as the drawing is, because I thought, oh yeah. But anyway, thank you. It's good work. Any other comments, or do we have a motion to continue? Oh yes, Rocky.
So one of the questions last time was any effort made to see if there was any historic remnants of the building left, which hasn't been answered here, but not only the front facade, but the back of the building.
There are some remnants. There has been an addition to create a stairway down to the basement.
Yeah.
And that original rear facade is still there. You can still see the old shiplap. But to expose...
Is that going to be taken out?
No, that's going to stay. Yeah. What we are covering over is with the glass piece that we're adding onto the back. I can go over to that. On that back facade. Oh, I'll take it. Thank you. All right, right there. So you can see the glass on the left-hand side of the building. That is going over what is currently roof and has some atrocious water intrusion issues.
Hence the tarp.
Yeah, to not cover that over would be the death of the building. So we're putting a glass roof and glass windows in the back to allow light in and through the building. But the upper portion of the building is original, and I can't tell you the date that this back door was put on, but it appears to be in the 50s because a lot of that construction in there has some clay tile, and that's about the era when that died out.
Yeah.
So.
If I remember correctly, there is that back wall, which is, well, the back wall shown in this image, not excluding the glass and the door.
Where the brown part is, next to the blue
The
tarp?
light color.
Okay.
Where the man is. I mean, that little part that jets out and the glass, that's new. What you're talking about is the back wall where you're seeing the upper part.
The piece to the right of the glass was added in 50s or before.
Okay.
The wall that's up above that also continues straight down through the building is original to the original construction of the building in
And
the
that
early
wall is the
1900s.
one that connects to the staircase.
That's correct, and that is to stay.
So in the interior, there is parts of that wall. The interior wall will stay?
It will.
The way, the historic part of it? Okay. So I appreciate that. I am curious in the wording and the scope of work where it says facade with historic features. Show us the historic features that you're putting in the facade.
Well, we thought we had more to work with than we did, and when we went and found
So there is
those
no
pictures.
historic features that you're adding to the facade. So remove that line because it's
That's
not
fair.
true.
That's fair. I'll take that out.
There could have been, I think, nods to some history there. I think you did yourself a disservice actually by putting the historic photos in the package, even though we wanted to see them, I wanted to see them, but it just shows even more so how you're going against what that building was. We can all debate about design and whatever, but the current facade, which would be on the 703 side, the stone, I mean, it's not ideal. And it probably stands out more than any facade on Main Street as not really fitting. And then what you're gonna do is duplicate it. I'm fascinated by that. I'm curious also to what detail these renderings are actually accurate because, and I'm assuming they're not very accurate because the doors, I mean, we can't even know what really the doors are because there's two different doors in each photograph. I know that this grant is primarily for what would be, I assume, the 705 side, yet it's listed as the 703 side. And the 703 side is not is just the facade, right? The 705 side is the Dante base, right?
Yes.
The 703 side, there's no interior work being done, so the only thing that's being done on the facade of the 703 side is that you're bringing that inset out to be flush with the building frontage.
Excuse me, which side are you asking about?
The 703 side, there's an inset there. You see how it's where the woman's standing, it insets?
The existing inset will remain.
All of your other renderings show it coming out flat.
Yeah, go back a couple.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And that is ugly. I mean, the
there
character
is-
of the building has insets for a reason, right? And if you did the stone pillars that come out and it gives some flexibility to that facade, it's a far different. And you look at the doors are completely different. Some of them have panes in them, some of them don't. Some of them have handles on them, some of them don't. And I'm getting in very detail, but I question the renderings because renderings are supposed to give us some idea, and they're all different, and so I have no idea.
So-
right there, it looks now.
So I will point out, there are some limitations with
there's an
conceptual
inset
purpose.
there.
And,
No, there's-
and
I mean-
we could go further into it. This, right here, we have the left side inset. And
Right.
yes, over here,
The
the
first
patterning of the texture continued across what is an inset. But you can see on the left-hand side, the far left window is much narrower than what we're illustrating here, for instance. So it's not that it's not inset, but there are some renderings
So
that
none
came
of
through in
it's
the
going to be
engineering.
inset. It's all coming to the front.
We said it is going to be inset.
Yeah, a straight-on shot does not show depth.
Yeah, if you go back
That's
to
what
the
you're-
other one.
I understand that, but
Go
either
back
to your
the-
side
No,
ones.
no, not that one, the other one.
So,
Go-
I
So
think
that inset's going to stay like that.
it is, yes.
Okay, go back to the other renderings.
Well, how about we just stay here and talk about this, because we can answer
No,
your
go
question.
back to your renderings. You're showing us renderings. That doesn't show the
The
inset.
inset's right there. See the window? You can't see all of it.
The window's inset. The
Yeah.
rockwork is not in
Yeah.
that rendering. Go to the next image. Okay, that one's straight on. I get that maybe you can, but if you look at the ground, you would sort of be able to tell if it's in, well, you can tell, it gets to the left, you can
I
see.
think it's inset.
Okay, go to the next one. There's one from another angle, I think. Okay, so the inset's going to be there on the left, but not on the right. Why wouldn't they match?
There's a structural wall that's in between the two. Currently, the facade is in plane with the upper portion of the wall, and so we're going to keep the facade in plane
Okay,
with the
are
upper
the
portion of
doors
wall.
going to have panes in them, or are they just going to be flat glass?
So the 705 side will have glass in those doors. We're going to keep the existing door on the 703 side, which does not have glass.
Then why aren't you showing that in the rendering? Because the existing door on the left side is god-awful, which you don't show in even your existing
It's kind of
street
a-
view where you
kind
cut
of a
off the
70s door.
703 side. I mean, we need to see how the building looks. If the one side, if it's the same building and one side completely doesn't match the right side, you don't think that's odd?
I
When
hear
we're
your
giving you
critique.
$150,000? But your renderings don't show that because they're very slick. You very carefully cut off that side of the building in that rendering.
So you're asking for the full facade?
Well,
Yeah. No, I'm not
the
disagreeing
renderings
with you.
show the doors and facades matching. He's saying they won't match. I
Do you have
find
a
that.
preference? I'll ask that.
Well,
City Commission,
but
do
I'm
you
not
have a
done with my
preference?
questions. I'll finish some of my questions. I understand too that there's not a tenant yet for the right side or the 705 side. I'm hoping the 705 side, well, the existing Don Pape's at least had one large plate window that allows visibility from the street. As I assume you would acknowledge that a city spending a ton of money on a building interiors, those would want to be seen from the street as a way of inviting people into the building. However, on the 703 side, because of the use of the building, they're all fogged glass. So the concern would be is if we have a whole nother storefront, which I don't know what the tenant is, that would be fogged glass as shown in your rendering, which doesn't allow the person to walk by even to look into the building to see the work that's done in the interior. Even if they are clear glass in the doors and windows, by adding a second door there, you're minimizing the window space to look into the building anyway, and the middle window in between the two doors, whether it's curtained or not, also would block out. The hope is anybody that designs a business downtown or has a storefront, you want it open, you want it visible and endearing and drawing into the public.
So Rocky, if I could
it.
address that question right there. So the reason we don't have a larger window on the right is we are creating 1,000, 1,200 square feet in the basement that's occupiable. I forget the number off the top of my head, forgive me, but the basement will become occupiable. To do that, we have to have access for someone to get downstairs. And that tenant that's downstairs can't go through
Because the
another
tenant's going to be
business.
separate than the main floor tenant?
It will be. We're gonna have an opportunity for other tenants to occupy that downstairs. So we're providing a door. Here on the far right side, so that someone can get down to the basement. This 28 feet that you see here is
Jason, could you
the only street frontage that we have on this
hand on which
building.
door he's talking about?
Far right.
That one,
So it'll be
okay.
the
Yep.
far right.
So
Okay,
that
see
is the doorway to get down to
Got
the
it.
basement. We have an existing demising wall that's a structural support for the building, kind of right there in the center. So we've really given as much glazing as possible to that street facade.
Okay,
It would
well, see,
be,
there, I mean, I would think the doors would be consistent across the board, which sort of helps. But like I said, in some of your pictures, they actually have individual panes and those doors are gridded off. And in this picture, they don't. So if you go back to the other pictures, you'll see all the doors are different and don't really match up.
Can we
enough.
strongly encourage her to
See
not
right there. So
use
those
that-
show them
yeah.
all completely different.
The door that's on 703 is basically like a 70s door. It's
But yet here we
it's
show
not,
it as a
it's
new
not
door.
even, it doesn't even match anything in.
Anyway,
Yeah, so
Here's the thing.
I pulled it up.
I'm skeptic of it. I will concede, and I've been in that building, I've been in the basement. I acknowledge that there is a huge effort of making that building better. But the way this comes to us and how unserious it's taken, I can't support it. You know, we base this on visuals. And right now, you're giving me answers that aren't in the visuals, and therefore I have to trust that the things that you're saying are accurate. And yet we've seen other projects that haven't been. So I just can't go there. I'm sorry. Great effort in the rest of the building. The facade is not something I can support, so I won't support the project.
Okay. Well, I would ask that the commission consider the project in its totality and understand that this is not the last step. There's still several more to go through. So we're asking if we can continue to engage in conversations. And if the city commission is willing to do that, we will need to go through design review with the city. We'll need to submit for permits. We'll need to work with staff on exposing all the financing for the project. So it looks preliminary because this is the first step. But I can respect your comments, Rocky, and I thank you for your consideration.
Well, I don't have a problem with continuing the conversation. I do agree with that the doors do need to be more consistent. And speaking of buildings, the one that's got the foam on the outside of it, that's the worst building in downtown. It's spray foam on the facade. I mean, what can I say? It's across the street. Yes, but I think that the doors need to be consistent, and part of the thing is that I understand, what she is doing in the interior, but where the treatment is taken care of is further back, but there could be some additional consideration giving to. So part of the problem is that as you know, main streets, there should be some way, even if it's just a waiting room, that you can see through see into it. And I was thinking about the woman that just opened up next to the barber shop on 7th Street. Her treatment is in the back, but she's got a little waiting room, and you walk by and somebody might be waiting there, but you can, you're getting some interaction with the street. And when the buildings have frosted glass or whatever, you're walking by essentially basically a blank wall. And I was just noticing that when I was down there, because the restaurant at the end of the block has changed where their access is, and now that Main Street facing facade is dead. It's a dead zone, and that's what's gonna happen right here, is that it's kind of a dead zone. You walk by the Masonic, and what they're doing in there, you can't totally see it, but you can see into the window. So I guess I would make a recommendation that there be some more visual relationship to the street, and that the doors somehow need to be consistent. Because having different doors, that's not what they would have done back in the day. And we've got lots of examples of different types of doors downtown on some of the older buildings. So I'm getting what you're saying. I'm not thrilled with the stone, but again, I understand the cost there. And to take it all off. And I remember, I don't know if you recall, when they were going to paint that mural, one of the questions that was brought up was what was onto the surface of that. And so it was already flat and smooth. So they had taken the detailing off at some point in time, probably 20 years ago. So that detailing that we saw on the historic photo on the side, where it had a little bit of articulation on the front facade, that's been long gone, unfortunately.
Yeah. And the mural predated the stone by a long shot.
Yeah. So like I said, I don't have a problem with this moving forward. I think, again, you said it's still a work in progress, and but I would definitely say that door on the left-hand side, that's got to go. I just pulled it up again, and I thought, oh yeah, I remembered how kind of weird it is. So
Do we need a motion?
Just include the actual picture in the mirror. Even if I like the whole plan, it's a little slick, and so and I don't know if it's intentional to hide these things, but when you look at it and you're seeing pictures of half the Masonic Lodge and not even looking at the rest of this building, it just seems not right.
Do we need a motion?
I would think so.
Okay. I will move to continue the discussion on this project.
Second.
Commissioner Scott Wilson.
Aye.
Commissioner Mike Mitchell.
Aye.
Commissioner Rocky Smith.
No.
Commissioner Adam Marl.
Aye.
Mayor Denise McGriff.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your time.
So one more rendering. We'll get there.
Yep.
What is the process from here?
Good luck, you guys.
What we would do, based on the vote and the conversation that you want to continue, it sounds as if we have to bring this back so that you can see a new rendering.
I think that's,
Well, I guess I want a clarification, because the motion was to move forward, and move forward would be.
Did you want to see
beginning
another
the
rendering?
the review process, so, does the commission want to see another facade brought back, or are we continuing through the process of moving this towards, looking at the financials, completing the entitlement process?
Well, the motion that Commissioner Mitchell made was to continue the discussion. And that was the exact
I thought
motion,
it was continue.
right?
do we need another motion to clarify? I have no problem with going down a parallel path. I want,
Commissioner Mitchell, what was your intent? I'm sorry, I must have misheard you.
My intent was to continue to move the project forward. I don't know whether we move right to the finance, or do we need to see another rendering. So maybe I need to clarify the motion.
Right, because I think for us, we would move into
Okay.
the next
All right,
step.
then.
So I think there's two different paths here right now.
Can they work in parallel is what my question is.
Well, yes, they could work in parallel. The thing about, they can work in parallel, but the thing about it is that by going through the entitlement process, the developer would have more of an idea as to what their true cost will be, so that when we get to the financial piece, the developer would be able to provide financials that reflect more of the cost. Because right now they don't have a full picture of what the cost, because they haven't finished the entitlement process. And now if you change the facade, of course that's going to be cost there. So we're just trying to get to the I don't want to say true cost, but closer to the probable cost of what the project is. Now we can proceed in a parallel way, but the financials would most likely have to be revised as they continue down. But if you want to see the facade, if you want to, you have two options. You could actually come back, he can come back and provide you the renderings to reflect what you want. And then if you approve that, then he goes forward, continue the entitlement process, and hopefully they'll be over with and they'll have a better idea what the financials are. Or that's the second part, is that he'll proceed, continue to proceed, and we will start the financial review process, and go from there.
So based on some of the confusion over renderings that didn't match, I think we do need to see another rendering.
I would agree.
Okay.
Do we have a consensus that we want to see another rendering that more accurately reflects what Commissioner Smith was getting at? Because I think, again, it was a little, one picture did show one thing, and that, I had confusion about that as well, but
If we would also be able to approve whatever it is that needs to be approved for it to move forward that same night, I would be open to that.
yeah, let's do that.
So do we need a new motion to clarify?
I'm comfortable that the commission would like us to work with the applicant to bring back a refined facade drawing for the commission to review, and hopefully that night as well,
We can approve.
approve the process moving forward.
So we would like an accurate rendering of the facade with matching doors of some sort that we can take a look at. Because again, talk to Donna, but you heard what we said.
An accurate rendering should have come in the first 2 tries.
Well, he was still working with her on what she needed.
Whatever your excuse
Yeah.
is.
Can I bring up one thing?
Please, how about 2 things?
No, just one. I agree with the comments that were made about the frosted glass and what happened with the business down the street. But I would point out, I don't think there's anything in our code that would say someone cannot do frosted glass. So if we're going to consider that we want to hold them to that standard, we need to look at a code revision. Because, and this is something that has bothered me back.
We can hold them to whatever standard we want if we're giving them money and paying for it. You're right in the other ways, but that's not.
Okay. The point I'm trying to get at is if we're concerned about that, and I'll tell you, I can go back to days on the Planning Commission with a business up in the hilltop that was required a certain amount of glass on the frontage, and then they stuck signage on the inside of it and covered up every inch of the glass. And we can't do anything about that because that's not a sign, because it's on the inside of the glass. So I'm just pointing out that what we want people to do, we have to make sure is reflected in our code, because otherwise we don't have any leg to stand on. And I get what you're saying about the money. That does put a little different wrinkle on it.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay, so let's move on. I think we have consensus, and they know, and staff knows what we need to do. All right, so item B, is this you, Mr. City Manager?
Hi, so Jake Wiley, City Recorder. We brought this item forward for you guys to discuss the process for interviewing Planning Commission, Historic Review Board, and Urban Renewal. If you remember, recently we passed the Charter Amendment. I guess recently is a relative term. Now you appoint the Planning Commission and HRB members. In the past few years, we've been doing those interviews at a public meeting, and we just wanted to confirm with you that that is the process we want to continue doing, or we want to talk about other options or potential ways of doing those interviews. So I was kind of leaving it to you guys to let us know what you'd like.
And I think we just brought this, we had heard some thoughts about doing meetings in public and,
You mean interviews?
interviews in public. So, I will just say when I started, it used to be the mayor, someone from, let's say, Planning Commission, the community development director at that time, since it was a planning commission, they would meet, interview in one of the offices at City Hall, then come and make an appointment, right? So, this process has kind of morphed over the last 25 years, in terms of how that process went. So really, it was just a discussion of realizing, we get 6 applicants, usually they're a half an hour each, there's 3 hours. This was more responding to the last time we went through this process. We're fine either way you choose to do this, but we just wanted to have the discussion before we started kind of getting into interview and whatnot season here.
Anybody have any strong opinions about it?
I can.
Please, go right
Thank
ahead.
you. I'm fine with keeping at least the Planning Commission and the Historic Review Board process the same as it is now. That was kind of what I had anticipated the process looking like when we first brought this forward to be a charter amendment. So I can appreciate the logistical concerns just about the time commitment to hold an interview and the I guess, daunting task of having a public interview. But if you're going to be in one of those bodies, you're going to be attending a lot of public meetings. And so I would prefer that we keep it the same. Just coming forward with suggestions doesn't give me the background that I feel that I need in order to make an informed vote. So that's where I am.
Mike?
So, presently, do the HRB and the Planning Commission interview the candidates before we do?
No, we do.
Okay.
We do it all.
So I'm going to make a suggestion that those bodies do first interviews, and then they would pass recommended candidates, and if they have a lead recommendation, provide us with that information. So we would then, as a commission, interview any that they passed on to us as acceptable, and with their recommendation. And we know what happened the last time. Frankly, we interviewed people that had no business applying. They didn't know what they were applying for. So I guess part of what I'm asking for is those bodies would be a screening interview. The PC and the HRB would be a screening interview, and they would pass on a recommendation and any acceptable candidates that we would then interview.
I'm glad you brought that up about the last interview, because I was trying to think of ways that we prevent from having to interview all the candidates that we know only half or less than half are actually people that we're going to consider. I have a problem with the process starting with the HRB or the Planning Commission and having the recommendations, just because we know how controversial of an issue that land use is, and whether one faction of the land use debate is in control or the other. I wouldn't want that to get in the way of any qualified candidates making their way to an interview with us. And so if there's a way for us to more clearly articulate to applicants or potential applicants what it is they're actually trying to get themselves in for, I would be all for that. And I know, like, as the mayor has observed, a lot of people just click all the boxes. So if there's a way to
filter that out without a separate interview with the Planning Commission or Historic Review Board, I would be supportive of that. But because of the nature of this topic and the different personalities at play, I would just prefer that we have the final interview say.
Well, funny you should mention that because Jared had me make a little video about please know what you are applying for. And if you have questions, please reach out to staff. Please reach out to us to ask. So I don't want, I basically would go with either leaving it as it is or option one. But then again, the reason that we were concerned about the charter amendment is because the end run that was made in the 11th hour for planning commissioners that didn't go through any sort of process from past, that's why that's on there. So let's just leave it as it is. I don't want to go and do a pre-screen because that just adds more time for other people and we can cut, we don't have to make the interview a half an hour. When I do the other boards and commissions that I do, they're like 20 minutes or less.
If we were to have an agenda prior to the actual interview meeting, an item on a regular agenda item, where we could just go through the applications as they have been submitted to us and decide for ourselves which ones we would actually like to move forward with in interviewing, I think that could be a way of cutting down on the time and making sure that we're not just interviewing people for the sake of the process.
Would we be able to legally do that? We can do that. We can pre-screen.
Yeah, we would send the applications under general business. I think we'd probably go through, let's say there's 6 of them, however we want to do it, go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or what are the top 3 or 4, whatever you decide, right? I think there's multiple ways to do that.
Just like a hiring process, not everyone's going to get an interview.
Right.
I like that. I think that's a good way of kind of giving everybody equal opportunity to apply and also kind of whittling down the number of actual interviews that we're doing.
Right. If they all meet that. If they don't, then we go back out.
Would you, I guess, I would, if you had, let's say we have 6 and I'm an applicant and I show up and I want to speak, are you taking testimony from me? Or is this just going to be, just so it's fair for everybody to know what to expect?
No, I don't think we should take any testimony.
From the applicants or?
For the initial pre-screening?
Yeah.
Right, then they would come back, let's say you narrow it down, right? Then whoever's invited back would do the interview.
Right.
Like we've traditionally
Exactly.
done.
Well, they could come to public comment and to general business and talk about whatever they want to.
That is true. I'm just saying, just trying to set the expectations for people so that, we as staff have something to tell them.
No, we're not going to do any pre-screen interviews. We're going to pre-screen them and figure it out, and then that's it. No public. They've got to put everything they've got on the paper.
But you're right, yes, they could show up and, well, I don't know, it'd be on the agenda.
It would be on the agenda, so
It's a weird one.
Items not on the agenda for public comment.
Right.
But, it's always sometimes dicey when somebody starts talking to know where they're headed. And so, you're going to have to just deal with the slop there, I think, a little bit.
Well, let's just see what happens.
That's a legal term, the slop.
Slop, yeah, okay, that's what I thought. Somewhere in Black's Law Dictionary, that's defined, right?
Okay, so it sounds like we'll work on a process where we have the applications, we'll forward them to the commission for general business. They'll review, make a motion to forward a set number, whichever they decide is appropriate for interviews to be scheduled at a later date, at which time we'll invite the remaining applicants to come to that meeting, do the interview process, and the commission will make a decision at some point.
Yep.
All right. Sound good?
Yeah, but since both Mike and I have served on the Planning Commission, I feel as strongly as he does that we need qualified people, and I would rather leave a position vacant if we don't find anybody, because that doesn't do us any good.
And I think when you and I applied, we both knew what the Planning Commission did.
You think?
I think so.
All right, let's move on to this last exciting topic, SB 1537, mandatory adjustment exception, city approval. Yeah, I'm about 3/4 of the way through reading it. It's
Riveting.
It was. I will tell you honestly, I thought the budget put me to sleep. I was reading this last night and I was out. And it's my field. So
I'm going to take just 5 minutes, That's okay. I want to share with you the exciting news that the city was granted a Senate Bill 1537 waiver, which means that the city does not have to grant automatic waivers, but rather applicants that want to change development standards have to go through the city's adjustment or variance criteria. So we were able to stay with our local program. It's great. And it was hard fought. The city had to work, I think we had 3 sets of revisions we had to go through to satisfy the state in order to get this adjustment, to get this exception status. What is also pretty cool about the way Oregon City did it is you can get this exception status 2 ways. You can either show that you have approved 90% of the variances you have reviewed over a certain period of time, I think it's 5 years or 3 years, or you can have positive statements by developers who say that this is a place that is accommodating for adjustments. And we pursued the second route, and we had 4 letters of support. Oregon City did, of developers who found Oregon City a accommodating place to process applications, and variances are available. And the DLCD put out, or HAPO put the application out for comment to the public, and only 1 party opposed.
I can't even imagine who that might have
And
been.
the party that opposed had a historic challenge, so they wouldn't be in the pool of possible adjusting, qualifying candidates anyway. So anyway, I think it's great that Oregon City was able to go through this public gauntlet and come out the other side with a full wholesale retention of its local standards. Which hasn't been the case for many jurisdictions. They've ended up with a patchwork where you can grant an adjustment for windows, but not for height or other things like that. So this comes across the board. There are conditions of approval to this waiver authorization. The city has to provide notice to all applicants of the availability of variances within the city pursuant to the city process. And we have to provide notice on the city's website. So I believe that Christina is working on a notice that will go to tell people that variances are available in Oregon City. And then Oregon City is going to have to report back to HAPO periodically on its success and its availability of grant, its statistics on granting waivers and how satisfied developers are with our process. So that is going to go into the mix of our housing needs analysis. In the remaining 2 minutes, I want to talk to you also about, so this is really good news. I want to talk to you about some maybe less than good news.
Is this another topic?
Turn your mic.
It's related, but
Okay, because I have a question.
sure.
I know this is going to come across a little snarky, and I apologize in advance. So when did we base our land use regulations on the development community satisfaction? That just seems I can't eat, my brain is exploding right now.
When we started into a housing crisis, and one of the ways we're going to, one of the challenges developers face is that they cannot get through the regulations, the regulatory structures the cities have. And so
Yes.
that's why we had Senate Bill 1537
Right,
in the first place.
some cities, not this city.
I understand, and that's why we were able to get an exception. So,
On that note, I just want to make a quick comment. I want to thank Mr. Henderson because he was one of the people who supplied that feedback to DLCD and HAPO. and I don't know how much he was lying to them when he said how easy it's been for him in Oregon City. But at least when it comes to variances, I appreciate your comments on that, and also want to give a shout out to Ms. Richter and Christina Robertson Gardner.
Yes.
The day that the deadline for this to come out, I was constantly refreshing my computer to wait for that and for it to pop up on the map. And Oregon City is unique in that we got this. If you look at the map that's on the website where it shows all the jurisdictions who have either complied 100% with the bill or who are doing their own thing and trying to get buy-in from the developer community in order to justify keeping those local standards, we are unique. And being able to preserve that is very special.
I agree. I've been saying it all along that Oregon City is unique and that we will thread our needle on these processes if we can do it so that it works for us. And that is, thank you for that. That has been my complaint from day one, that we are not one size fits all. And this town, in talking to my colleagues, not the elected colleagues, but planning colleagues, we are unique in how we are approaching things. We are trying to satisfy the state, but also keep the faith with our community members. And what I hear from the community is that they don't like being told what to do that's going to make our city look like everybody else. We don't want to be like everybody else. We just heard in our DMMO. We're trying to get people to come here because we are authentic. We are different. So I appreciate all the work that you have put into this. And, again, I don't mean any disrespect, but it just, I want to know where the community satisfaction part comes into this. Is our community satisfied? And thank you for submitting something. I appreciate that. We just have to keep plugging away at this and help our friends in Salem understand that we are doing what we need to do, but we're kind of doing it the Oregon City way. And I think that's where we have to keep plugging away. So I appreciate it.
Can I make one more follow-up point real quick?
Please. And would you give us a Cliff Notes version of this?
Yes. The Oregon Housing Needs Authority, which is the analysis, which is the next step that the city has to pursue. DLCD is promulgating rules which set forth a model, clear, and objective code, and the language of the rules right now make it mandatory. You have to go with the model code, clear and objective standards, unless you can show that your standards allow for greater density. Oregon City, on October 23rd, Kelly Hart submitted a really well-crafted letter opposing these rules. Oregon City is one of the few cities that was right on it, submitting comments. And I can share them with you if you want to get deeper into it, but they're really well taken, and I really hope that DLCD takes another look at this, because they are absolutely one size fits all housing program. It is essentially Salem doing zoning.
Yeah, I don't care for that. She vetoed the infrastructure bill. That is what we cities need.
So that's what I have to report. I'd be happy to respond to any questions, or I'll forward this on to you and you can take a look.
Thank you. Yeah, I think it's too late in the evening for our brains to expand that far. Anything else, Mr. Conkle?
Just one thing real quick. I'm not sure. This will be my 10th year as city manager. I think we've had conversations in the past about some of the uniqueness of some of the things in my contract and how it's been put together. We've had conversations about, we should address that someday. Well, what I'm proposing is that Commissioner Mitchell, that the commission allow Commissioner Mitchell to work with our attorney and Mr. Foyles and Ms. Raines to kind of look at my contract. And him and I and that group, we can work together to kind of probably look at some more typical standard contracts that are out there and make some changes that, if we can come to agreement with, we could bring back to the commission to review.
Didn't
As
we
you're
talk
aware,
about-
as you're aware with ethics, we can't do this, essentially we'd have to have a work session. We'd all sit around and try and redline my contract.
I don't want to do that.
So I'm hoping maybe it'd be a little easier. I think Commissioner Mitchell understands, he's been a part of a lot of these discussions over the years. He understands some of the issues that are there. And then once again, all four of you would have the opportunity to review it. Obviously, you're the ones who need to approve any changes to it, should we agree. So I'm just asking you to kind of empower Commissioner Mitchell to kind of work with me to see if we can come up with some edits that I think we all agree probably need to be done.
Well, I want to say that this is something that we talked about last year, and it is definitely high on my radar list of things that we need to get done. I think we owe it to ourselves, and we owe it to our city manager. So I would be supportive of that. I've spoken with Commissioner Mitchell about it. So I hope that the rest of you will go along with this. I think it's imperative that we get this done as quickly as possible.
Yeah, I'm fine with it as long as Commissioner Mitchell wants to. Then, yeah, I don't know if you're just volunteering him to do it.
We're not twisting his arm. We're not twisting his arm.
It didn't catch me by surprise.
Oh, that's good.
I'm fine.
Yeah, as long as you want to, yeah, I'm absolutely
You're
fine
okay with it? Rocky?
I have no issue with it.
Okay.
Fine.
All right. Any communications from the commission?
If I may.
Please.
I just wanted to give a quick update about the transportation bill. It's been over a month since the legislature passed that bill, and the governor has still yet to sign it.
Yep.
Even though she said it was a crisis. And the reason why she's refusing to sign it is because the clock starts ticking for people to collect signatures to send it to the voters once the legislature adjourns. The legislature has adjourned, but they can't start collecting signatures until the governor has signed the bill. So she has 30 business days to sign the bill after its passage, so that emphasis on business days, so it's more than 30 days. And so we should expect her to be signing the largest tax increase in Oregon history soon, in which case the signature collection campaign, which I am well versed in, will commence, and I will try my best to get that information out, because I think that people should have a right to have a voice in this. So I just wanted to give a quick update on that.
This is from the horse's mouth at the governor's office.
Yes.
Real quick, I thanked them earlier. I just want to thank the folks from GOCA about the trick or treat on Main Street. It was a fantastic event. Thank you so much for putting that on. Thanks to the members of the community and folks who came to our community to participate. I had the ability to help volunteer and help with that event, and it was really, really neat. A ton of people showed up. It was packed. We had to take the stairs to get back up the bluff because there was the line. You get into the Underbill elevator. It was unreal. But again, thank you for helping pull that off. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, there were some people down there with some awesome costumes.
There were.
I saw them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
yeah.
want some pictures.
Oh, I got them. I got
Okay, good.
pictures. I got pictures. Yes, I think that one of the things that we should definitely consider, and maybe we can talk about this at our next board meeting, that maybe in the future talk about moving the celebration of the trick or treat on Main Street to a Saturday rather than a weekday where we have to contend with traffic. I didn't see too many people that looked cross during the lulls that I had, which was very little lulls. Usually it was just swarming, but I had a great time. I only cast one spell. One kid wanted to spell to get more candy, so I did it. He got a ton of candy.
So are you proposing to change the date of Halloween?
Well, not officially, but only for trick. I'm just suggesting it would logistically, it would work better.
We do things differently in Oregon City,
Logistically, it might work better. Something for us to consider to have, so let's say Halloween falls on a Wednesday. We do it on a Saturday where there's less traffic and less logistics. It's just an idea to throw out there. Anyway,
Don't do it.
Yeah, anyway, I have something I'd like to read to the commission because it's kind of awesome, and you probably already know this. So there were 3 Oregon City High School District students who were awarded National Merit Scholarships, and I'm happy to say that 2 of them were our Youth Advisory Commissioners. So Don Brady Hoff has been named a semi-finalist in the 2026 National Merit Scholarship Program. joining approximately 16,000 students nationwide to represent less than 1% of U.S. high school seniors. As a semifinalist, Dawn will have the opportunity to continue in the competition for approximately 6,930 national merit scholarships worth nearly $26 million. Don has studied in the district for his entire educational career. He started out at Gaffney Lane, he moved to Gardner, and he will complete his education journey at Oregon City High School. Don is looking to pursue a career in finance, like go figure, since his uncle's in finance, and will be applying to the University of Chicago, which Tony should love that, as well as other schools. He scored a perfect 1,600 on his SAT. And I don't know why we were talking at dinner about, do we remember what our SAT score is? I don't remember, but anyways. The other student is Justin Evers, who's also on our Youth Advisory Commission. He's the chair this year. He's been recognized as a commendated student, placing among top 50,000 students nationwide, and this honor recognizes his exceptional academic promise and outstanding potential. So there was a third student, he's not on our YAC, but his name is Zachary Witham. So the National Merit Scholarship Program, as you know, is operated by the National Merit Scholarship Corporation, and it honors the national scholastic champions and encourages the pursuit of academic excellence. And just amazing, we've got 2 students from our Youth Advisory Commission who have made this. So I don't know if any of you were on National Honor Society when you were in high school, but it was a really big deal at our high school. Anyway, so with that, I will adjourn the meeting.